Look, my entourage filled with dope boys and Star Wars addicts. I've been rapping since a little boy, cause rhyme is a habit. I gotta have it like a rabbit when it come to this cabbage. Get so erratic with this rapping, you may send back the package. I'm like an addict, gotta have it. If I don't, then I'm scratching. You other rappers off the surface of the earth when I'm blasting off to the moon and back. Lunafacts, never had to move the pack to prove a fact. Kept it strictly on the dollar bills and 100 stacks. Ooh, Lord, I'm so comfortable here. Got a feet up on my ottoman, a joint in my ear. Tell my homies it's an audible, the quarterback here. Learning history from Audible, got listening skills. I'm trying to paint my city black. Blanco history kills. The motto is we coming back. Real lyrical skill. The pen spilling the fields. I gotta pursue the purple, and I ain't cracking the seal. I'm trying to heal me.
What's up, party people, to another episode of Who Asked You podcast. I am your host, Studi 2 Groovy, and today we have a very, very, very special episode because, let me adjust this camera, because I will be teaching the part 2 of a lesson that I taught a while ago. It's been a little minute, and it was about the technological advances that, that society has that could be used for evil. So, without further ado, hold on. Let me see. Okay. So I got that scrolling right there. And let's get started. I'm going to hit the ground running because I know it's been a while since I've actually taught a lesson. So I'm really excited to, get this thing started. So, boom, we are starting at part 5. Now, if you have not seen part 1, go ahead and go type in Call of Delusion, Modern Mindfare, and it should pop right up. That was the first half of this lesson. So we're starting off part 5, which is artificial intelligence, AI technology. So what is artificial intelligence? It is any device that perceives its environment and takes actions that maximize its chance of successfully achieving its goals. It is used to describe machines or computers that mimic cognitive functions that humans associate with the human mind, such as learning and problem solving. Artificial means made or produced by human beings rather than occurring naturally, especially as a copy of something natural. And intelligence is the capacity for logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. So artificial intelligence is a non-natural being that has the capacity to think. Let's move on. Intelligent personal assistance, IPA. It is an application program that understands natural language, voice commands, and completes tasks for the user. They are able to interpret human speech and respond via synthesized voices. Radio Rex was the first voice-activated toy released in 1911. And here are some known AI assistants. We have Siri, a virtual assistant that is part of Apple Inc. It's beta released as an integrated part of iPhone 4S in October 2011. And Alexa, it was developed by Amazon, first used in the Amazon Echo smart speakers developed by Amazon Lab 126, released on November 6, 2014. So I want to pause right there and comment that artificial intelligence is already around us. Excuse me. And remember, when they give out information, like when they give new technology and new forms of control, they always make it entertaining first. And then the nefarious implications come after. So, Seed AI. That is an artificial general intelligence, AGI, which improves itself by recursively rewriting its own source code without human intervention, meaning it learns by itself. Okay, it was coined by Eliezer Yudkowsky. According to Eliezer, there are two properties an AI must possess in order to be considered an AGI. It must understand the purpose, syntax, and architecture of its own programming. This type of self-reflection enables the AGI to comprehend its utility and thus preserve it. Meaning, it has to have an understanding of life. It has to have a concept of beginning and end. The AGI must be able to overhaul the very code it uses to fulfill its utility. A critical consideration is that it must remain stable under modifications, preserving its original goals. Excuse me. So, artificial intelligence having knowledge of self. In theory, this allows an AGI to recursively improve itself by becoming smarter within its original purpose. Now, here's a short video explaining the Gödel machine, which halts the AGI seed AI process. And as you come in, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get this through the algorithm. This information is very, very important.
You may or may not have heard of Gödel's incompleteness theorem, but since they are often mentioned in conjunction with the halting problem and undecidability, it's worth saying a few words about them. Gödel's incompleteness theorems, named after the Austrian-born mathematician Kurt Gödel, are concerned with mathematics, but are actually closely related to undecidability. And as you might know, any mathematical system starts out with a set of axioms. What are axioms? Axioms are statements which you assume to be true without having any formal proof for them, such as if A equals B and B equals C, then A must also equal C. Or you can always draw a line from one point to another point, no matter where they are. Those would be axioms. Now, axioms often sound very trivial, like this one here, or the fact that you can always draw a line between 2 points, but for many of them, there are actually scenarios where they are not true. So axioms are the basis of any mathematical theorem or proof. Now, what Kurt Gödel showed, and it was a shocker at his time, and to many it is still today, is the following. So what Kurt Gödel showed was that if you have a set of axioms and they don't contradict each other, and they are listable, which means you could have an algorithm that lists you all of these axioms. So either they are finite or they can even be infinite as long as you have an algorithm that can produce them all. If this is the case, then there are some statements that are true, but which you cannot prove based on these axioms. And this is what he meant by incompleteness. So he basically showed that no matter what foundation you base a mathematical system on, as long as that is a consistent foundation, then you cannot prove everything without adding additional axioms, at least. And he also showed, and this is the second incompleteness theorem, which is basically an extension of the first one, that a system of axioms cannot demonstrate its own consistency. And what that means is that, very informally, a mathematical system cannot be used to show that it itself is consistent. And these two statements are in a way very similar to the halting problem and undecidability. The axioms, you could think of those as programming statements. So any program or algorithm is composed of a number of simple instructions that are then arranged. And of course, there's an infinite number of possible computer programs that you can write, but they are made up of a finite set of building blocks. And the second incompleteness theorem is, of course, very similar to undecidability in the sense that it shows that you cannot use a system to prove everything about that system, very loosely speaking. And the undecidability.
And to put that in layman's terms, what he just said, think about how people, and I'm not trying to pick on this religion, but how Christians try to use the Bible to authenticate the biblical stories. That's what he's saying. Like you can't use you can't use the Bible to prove that it's real. You have to have an outside source of information to prove that sequence, that ideology works.
undecidability of the halting problem, and all the other undecidable problems, of course, says that we cannot use algorithms to calculate everything about algorithms. I know that from a practical perspective, there's lots of criticism of this, but truth be told, I just find that super fascinating.
Okay, so Google is determined to create Skynet. So I know that is kind of blurry, but I'm going to kind of try to blow it up for you. Now, what you're looking at is GitHub, right? And these are showing. Oops, I'm sorry. These are showing the steps of the programming that they're trying to do. Fix issues with copy, constructor in the unit test, add instructions to baseline experiments and make error message more, update setups, and more. So if you Google research AUTOML_0, you will find this right here. So what is that? What is AutoML 0? Okay. It is developed by So-Kwak Lee, a computer scientist at Google. Program develops AI programs with zero human input using only basic mathematical concepts a high school student should know. It borrows concepts from the racist Darwinian evolution theory, including survival of the fittest. It takes neural networks, a common type of machine learning used for translating languages and driving cars. These networks mimic the structure of the brain and learn from training data by altering the strength of connection between artificial neurons. Smaller subcircuits of neurons carry out specific tasks. So pretty much it's creating an artificial brain with the intelligence capacity of a high school student. Survival of the fittest. In each cycle, the program compares the algorithm's performance against hand-designed algorithms. Copies of the top performers are mutated by randomly replacing, editing, or deleting some of its code to create slight variations of the best algorithms. These children get added to the population while older programs get culled, and the cycle repeats. It's kind of like how cells do. You know, they get rid of the old cells, and any good bioinformation, it gets replicated. Everything else dies off. The system creates thousands of these populations at once, which lets it churn through tens of thousands of algorithms a second until it finds a good solution. So it's pretty much learning. It's learning through mistakes. It's killing off what's not needed, what information is not necessary, and it's learning to get to the solution as fast as it can. Machine learning explained. Now, this is kind of a long drag a little bit. I'm going to warn y'all, but it's vital information if you want to understand how this stuff actually works.
From detecting skin cancer to sorting cucumbers to detecting escalators in need of repair, machine learning has granted computer systems entirely new abilities. But how does it really work under the hood? Let's walk through a basic example and use it as an excuse to talk about the process of getting answers from your data using machine learning. Welcome to Cloud AI Adventures. My name is Yufeng Guo. On this show, we'll explore the art, science, and tools of machine learning. Let's pretend that we've been asked to create a system that answers the question of whether a drink is wine or beer. This question answering system that we build is called a model, and this model is created via a process called training. Machine learning, the goal of training is to create an accurate model that answers our questions correctly most of the time. But in order to train a model, we need to collect data to train on. This is where we will begin. Our data will be collected from glasses of wine and beer. There are many aspects of drinks that we could collect data on, everything from the amount of foam to the shape of the glass, but for our purposes, we'll just pick two simple ones: the color as a wavelength of light, and the alcohol content as a percentage. The hope is that we can split our two types of drinks along these two factors alone. We'll call these our features from now on: color and alcohol. The first step to our process will be to run out to the local grocery store, buy up a bunch of different drinks, and get some equipment to do our measurements. A spectrometer for measuring the color and a hydrometer to measure the alcohol content. It appears that our grocery store has an electronics hardware section as well. Once our equipment and booze, we got it all set up, it's time for our first real step of machine learning, gathering that data. This step is very important because the quality and quantity of data that you gather will directly determine how good your predictive model can be. In this case, the data we collect will be the color and alcohol content of each drink. This will yield us a table of color, alcohol content, and whether it's beer or wine. This will be our training data. So a few hours of measurements later, we've gathered our training data and had a few drinks perhaps. And now it's time for our next step of machine learning, data preparation, where we load our data into a suitable place and prepare it for use in our machine learning training. We'll first put all our data together, then randomize the ordering. We wouldn't want the order of our data to affect how we learn, since that's not part of determining whether a drink is beer or wine. In other words, we want to make a determination of what a drink is, independent of what drink came before or after it in the sequence. This is also a good time to do any pertinent visualizations of your data, helping you see if there's any relevant relationships between different variables, as well as show you if there are any data imbalances. For instance, if we collected way more data points about beer than wine, the model we train will be heavily biased toward guessing that virtually everything it sees is beer, since it would be right most of the time. However, in the real world, the model may see beer and wine in equal amount, which would mean that it would be guessing beer wrong half the time. We'll also need to split the data into two parts. The first part, used in training our model, will be the majority of our data set. The second part will be used for evaluating our trained model's performance. We don't want to use the same data that the model was trained on for evaluation, since then it would just be able to memorize the questions, just as you wouldn't want to use the questions from your math homework on the math exam. Sometimes the data we collect needs other forms of adjusting and manipulation, things like deduplication, normalization, error correction, and others. These would all happen at the data preparation step. In our case, we don't have any further data preparation needs, so let's move on forward. The next step in our workflow is choosing a model. There are many models that researchers and data scientists have created over the years. Some are very well suited for image data, others for sequences such as text or music, some for numerical data, and others for text-based data. In our case, we have just two features, color and alcohol percentage. We can use a small linear model, which is a fairly simple one that'll get the job done. Now we move on to what is often considered the bulk of machine learning, the training. In this step, we'll use our data to incrementally improve our model's ability to predict whether a given drink is wine or beer. In some ways, this is similar to someone first learning to drive. At first, they don't know how any of the pedals, knobs, and switches work, or when they should be pressed or used. However, after lots of practice and correcting for their mistakes, a licensed driver emerges. Moreover, after a year of driving, they've become quite adept at driving. The act of driving and reacting to real-world data has adapted their driving abilities, honing their skills.
Yeah.
We will do this on a much smaller scale with our drinks. In particular, the formula for a straight line is y equals mx plus b, where x is the input, m is the slope of the line, b is the y-intercept, and y is the value of the line at that position, x. The values we have available to us to adjust or train are just m and b, where the m is that slope and b is the y-intercept. There's no other way to affect the position of the line, since the only other variables are x, our input, and y, our output. In machine learning, there are many m's, since there may be many features. The collection of these values is usually formed into a matrix that is denoted w for the weights matrix. Similarly for b, we arrange them together, and that's called the biases. The training process involves initializing some random values for w and b and attempting to predict the outputs with those values. As you might imagine, it does pretty poorly at first. But we can compare our model's predictions with the output that it should have produced and adjust the values in W and B such that we will have more accurate predictions on the next time around. So this process then repeats. Each iteration or cycle of updating the weights and biases is called one training step. So let's look at what that means more concretely for our data set. When we first start the training, it's like we drew a random line through the data. Then, as each step of the training progresses, the line moves step by step, closer to the ideal separation of the wine and beer. Once training is complete, it's time to see if the model is any good, using evaluation. This is where that data set that we set aside earlier comes into play. Evaluation allows us to test our model against data that has never been used for training. This metric allows us to see how the model might perform against data that has not yet seen. This is meant to be representative of how the model might perform in the real world. A good rule of thumb I use for a training evaluation split is somewhere on the order of 80-20 or 70-30. Much of this depends on the size of the original source dataset. If you have a lot of data, perhaps you don't need as big of a fraction for the evaluation dataset. Once you've done evaluation, it's possible that you want to see if you can further improve your training in any way. We can do this by tuning some of our parameters. There were a few that we implicitly assumed when we did our training, and now is a good time to go back and test those assumptions, try their values. One example of a parameter we can tune is how many times we run through the training set during training. We can actually show the data multiple times. So by doing that, we will potentially lead to higher accuracies. Another parameter is learning rate. This defines how far we shift the line during each step, based on the information from the previous training step. These values all play a role in how accurate our model can become and how long the
Okay, I want to put it in layman's terms because he has one of those droning voices. You know how like when you first start a job, right? And they may show you how to do something, they may tell you how to do something, but it literally takes you a certain amount of time for you to get it right. And they take the data for what type of learning or training gets the best results the quickest. And they implicate that and use that in the machine learning process. So let's move on. So part 6, robotics. Robot soulless autonomy. Robotics. Robotics involves design, construction, operation, and use of robots. The goal of robotics is to design intelligent machines that can help and assist humans in their day-to-day lives and keep everyone safe. A robot is a machine, especially one programmable by a computer, capable of carrying out a complex series of actions automatically. Robots can be guided by an external control device, or the control may be embedded within. And a good example is if you ever worked in a warehouse, they're starting to have more robots who pick up the heaviest equipment and things of that nature. And you know, robots don't get tired. So let's look at Jibo, the world's first social robot. And in this section, we're going to be talking about various types of robotics that they have out right now.
Introducing Jibo, the world's first family robot. Say hi, Jibo.
Hi, Jibo.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, pal.
Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Sure.
I have your fortune here. Someday soon you will order the extra spicy, but later wish you'd ordered the mild.
Likely.
Meet Jibo. He looks, listens, and learns.
Hey, Jibo. What's up?
Hey, Aaron. Not much. Just watching the world turn.
Hey, Jibo. How about a joke?
Okay. What did the Earth say to the other planets? You guys have no life.
I'll remember that.
Jibo helps everyone out throughout their day. He's the world's best cameraman. By intelligently tracking the action around him, he can independently take video and photos. so that you can put down your camera and be a part of the scene.
Chibo, take the picture.
Now, I want to pause it right there because that's 24-hour surveillance right in your home. And remember, all modern cameras are two-way. So if you have a entity in your home who's consistently taking pictures and audio recordings of your daily life, you know that there's a corporation that's just mining your data and watching you and making a profile on you.
He's a hands-free helper. You can talk to him, and he'll talk to you back, so you don't have to skip a beat.
Excuse me, Anne?
Yes, Jibo.
Melissa just sent a reminder that she's picking you up in half an hour to go grocery shopping.
Thanks, Jibo.
He's an entertainer and educator. Through interactive applications, Jibo can teach.
Let me in, or else I'll... And I'll blow your house in.
Hey,
And I want to say this, that's cute and all, but you know, what happens when a malicious hacker hacks into your Jibo and is talking to your kids while you're asleep? Because they can't even control videos on YouTube without satanic stuff getting through on the kids' channels, or pedophilic stuff going on kids' channels.
Where'd you go? There you are.
He's the closest thing to a real-life teleportation device. He can turn and look at whoever you want with a simple tap of your finger.
Check out my turkey dinner, Mom.
I wish you wouldn't eat that.
Hey, they make turkey pizza? I want turkey pizza.
And he's a platform, so his skills keep expanding. He'll be able to connect to your home.
Welcome home, Eric.
Hey, buddy. Can you order some takeout for me?
Sure thing. Chinese, as usual?
You know me so well.
And even be a great wingman.
You have a voice message from Ashley. Want to hear it?
Absolutely.
Hey, call me when you're home.
Better make that takeout for two, Jibo.
We've dreamt of it for years, and now he's finally here. And he's not just an aluminum shell, nor is he just a 3-axis motor system. He's not even just a connected device. He's one of the family.
Good night, Chibo.
Jibo, this little bot of mine.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cynthia. Happy birthday to
So let me ask y'all this. Anybody who's watching right now, please let me know in the comment section if y'all seen that Black Mirror episode. On Black Mirror, they had an episode where they were actually putting human consciousness in robot toys just like this. And I think that's something to look out for. I really think that that's something to look out for. So now this is a robot in Dubai, okay? This is how advanced the technology has. Like, people think like on the movies, like it's just entertainment, but no, this is a real deal robot from Dubai.
Star Command. Titan the robot. Mission log, Stargate 4703. Just landed at this strange planet. Inhabitants appear friendly, but there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hey everybody, I feel honored and privileged to be invited to this wonderful and
Mind you, there's nobody with the microphone. This is actually the robot talking.
السلام عليكم. كيف حالكم أيها الحضور الرائعون؟
Wow, what a futuristic police stand. Is it IDEX 2019 or 2050? Dubai Police always surprise us with the latest police technology to protect us and keep our lives safe, simple, and easy.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Picture walking down the street and seeing that.
Would you mind taking your hands out of your pockets?
Hey everybody, I feel honored and privileged to be invited to this wonderful and prestigious event.
You can take a picture so that you see.
Changing your TV's display settings can reduce its power use by 5 to 20% with no
Now, I remember what we were just teaching, machine learning, autonomy.
The silent but menacing source of wasted water. Check your toilet today. Hey, you're a handsome fella. Oh, I spy a small furry creature living under your nose. Quick, I'll taser it for you. Gotcha. All in the line of duty.
It just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
It's all fun and games to them hoes marching down your street, telling you to get in the house.
Hey, how you doing?
It started with a key. It started with a key. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me now?
Watering at the right times and adapting to seasons reduces waste by evaporation or overwatering.
Hey, how you doing?
عيشي بلادي عاش اتحاد إماراتنا عيشي شعب دينه الإسلام وهديه القرآن حصنتك باسم الله يا وطن
Hello, officer. Thanks for keeping our city safe.
Excuse me.
Now, picture the computer capacity that's running its brain to be able to identify whether it's a female, whether it's a male, whether it's a police officer. That is like now. Like that's not no futuristic shit. Like that's like right now. Anything that they show in movies they've been had, I'll be trying to tell people that. So let's talk about Boston Dynamics, okay? Boston Dynamics is an American engineering and robotics design company founded in 1992 as a spinoff from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Boston Dynamics is best known for the development of Big Dog, a quadruped robot designed for the U.S. military with funding from Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. And we'll be talking about DARPA throughout this presentation. Now, let's look at this video, Evolution of Robotics from 2012 to 2019. Now, as you're watching this, remember, this is just a 7-year span of technological advancement. See, they're testing it in different environments, seeing the capacity of the robots, programming to complete a task with opposition. They're testing right now how far will the computer go to complete its task. That's 100 pounds. So it can pick you up. Picture that rolling. Picture that rolling up on you. Picture that pulling up to your hood. And we worried about police brutality. See how cautious it is? Because it got used to the door being obstructed. Like, all that advancement was just in 7 years. Okay, so now we're going to get into the real. I'm sorry. Okay, so military robots. Autonomous robots or remote-controlled mobile robots designed for military applications, from transport to search and rescue and attack. The first time robots were used in ground combat occurred during the war in Afghanistan in July 2002. And I want to add that that's just on record. You know how these people work. Hermes was deployed ahead of U.S. troops to search a network of caves in QK, Afghanistan, which were a potential hiding place for enemy personnel and weaponry. So we're going to watch a video on robot soldiers. And I'll be right back. You see that? It had to release anger. And that's very, very important. Yeah, that's a fact. It is part CGI. He is making a decision, though. That's very important. It's displaying cognitive ability. So let's get into cyborg botany, okay? No, you did not hear that wrong. I said it, cyborg botany. Harpreet Serene, an assistant professor at the Parsons School of Design and a research affiliate at MIT Media Lab, coined the term cyborg botany. It defines the process of harnessing the natural capabilities of plants to turn them into electronic devices. Let me say this again. It defines the process of harnessing the natural capabilities of plants to turn them into electronic devices. And remember, plants are not too far from humans, and humans are not too far from plants. So the same way that they could integrate electronics into humans, they're doing it with plants, and they're using the bioelectric energy. But I'm kind of going too fast, and let me get to it. Eloin is a cybernetic life form. It is a plant in direct dialogue with the machine. Using its own internal electrical signals, the plant is interfaced with a robotic extension that drives it towards light. The agency of movement rests with the plant based on its own bioelectrochemical signals. That's what I was just saying. The language interfaced here with the artificial world. Let me re-say that. Let me reiterate. The agency of movement rests with the plant based on its own bioelectrochemical signals. The language interfaced here with the artificial world. These in turn trigger physiological variations such as elongation growth, respiration, and moisture absorption, meaning it artificially triggers its natural characteristics, the natural characteristics of growth, respiration, and drinking, aka moisture absorption. And here is a video on it, plant robot hybrid.
This is Elowan, a robot-plant hybrid driven with the plant's natural signals. Plants are naturally occurring circuits in nature. The cells and tissues of plants become excited under the influence of environmental factors. This can be change of lights, change of gravity, soil conditions, and more, much like individual capabilities we program for in our electrical circuits. Ilovan is a hybrid that merges these two worlds. We attach silver electrodes to a plant, read and amplify its natural signals, and route them to a robot under a plant. We put lamps on either direction of the robot to trigger its natural signals, thus driving the robot underneath automatically. The robot goes left and right by itself, and the agency of such movements rests with the plant. Interfacing plants with robots or circuits this way can pave a way to power our future electronics naturally. Such biohybrids can impart their best properties to what the artificial world hasn't been able to realize: new, self-pairing, self-powered, and self-growing symbiotic organisms.
Well, I see some other implications of that technology, as in them planting those robotic plants in your neighborhoods, equipping them with sensors and cameras and some mass surveillance. Everything is about surveillance. Excuse me. So, Advanced Plant Technologies, APT. And I'm looking at the comments. I just can't. We're going to be talking about all the stuff you guys are saying in the comments after the lecture. So, mind you, I can see what you guys are saying. Advanced Plant Technologies, APT. According to DARPA's website, the Advanced Plant Technologies APT program seeks to develop plants capable of serving as next-generation, persistent, ground-based sensor technologies to protect deployed troops in the homeland by detecting and reporting on chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive CBRNE threats. Let me reread that because I was just saying that. According to DARPA's website, the Advanced Plant Technologies program seeks to develop plants capable of serving as next-generation, persistent, ground-based sensor technologies to protect deployed troops in the homeland by detecting and reporting on chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive CBRNE threats. Technical vision for APT is to harness plants' innate mechanisms for sensing and responding to environmental stimuli, extend that sensitivity to a range of signals of interest, and engineer discrete response mechanisms that can be remotely monitored using existing ground, air, or space-based hardware. So it's taking transhumanism to plants. They're going to be transplants, transplants out here. So let me show you a video about displaying the plant sonar that they've been developing. Remember, we're talking about cyborg botany.
Plants are normally thought of as passive creatures in the environment. Contrary to this, they can not only sense what's happening around them, but also respond and display naturally. In our digital and physical interfaces, these are the two essential elements to complete an interaction loop. Through cyborg botany, we power some of our digital functions with the natural abilities of plants themselves. We envision such a bridge between the plants and the digital world to be bidirectional and deeply integrated. To explore this, we adopted an approach to move the electronics from outside to inside the plants. We keep a plant in a water-soluble polymer prodot that grows a single conductive channel inside a plant. We connected this internal wire to sampling instrumentation, turning a plant into an antenna or an inconspicuous sensor to detect motion, and more. In a second case study, we show examples to not only listen to signals inside the plant, but also circuits that could send signals to them. We designed a live view software in which clicking on a leaf sends it a corresponding signal. When a user clicks in the software, the corresponding leaf is closed, essentially turning the plant into a display.
So don't let people tell you that plants aren't alive.
Integration
Yeah.
of sensing and display together in this way, the bidirectionality, is an important factor for design. The pervasiveness of plants then allows us to think of new applications.
I know y'all just saw that. Let me back that thing up one time. Just for the one time. Y'all just seen the plant transfer the information that it transfer the information to the other plant. Okay. I'm just gonna replay. That is nuts to me. So imagine if you imagine the implications of just think about it this way, right? Let's say she decided to pluck a leaf off, or pluck a little branch off of that. Would that other plant feel that pain? Would it release the same pheromones that I think it's pheromones that the plant releases when it's experiencing pain? Would that release those same pheromones? That is crazy. That is nuts. It's like the equivalent of enhancing humans' natural psychic abilities. And for those who don't believe we have psychic abilities, you can think about somebody, then they'll call you, or you can be talking to somebody and kind of predict or know what they're going to say, or you can have a precognitive ability to visualize a situation, a scenario, and then it happens. So yeah.
Plants are self-repairing, self-regenerating organisms available at scale. Through cyborg botany,
you're welcome, Joseph, and thank you for the
convergent
continued
design world
support.
in which we reappropriate our natural capabilities for a new biointeraction design.
And I want to say this before we go on to the next topic. I got laughed out the room years ago when I told people that they would replace trees with I called it pretty much computerized trees that would switch, that would take in the carbon and do a chemistry change of it and blow out oxygen. Like I said that, and they laughed me out the room. And look at that. Excuse me. Now we're going to get into some creepism, okay? Intimate robotics. They are anthropomorphic robot sex dolls. What does anthropomorphic means? It just means in the shape of a person. Bugs Bunny is an anthropomorphic bunny because he's shaped as a human. Vibrators, mechanical devices used to simulate human sexual intercourse or other sexual activities. This is a sex bot. This ain't for the children. This part ain't for the children.
My name is Harmony. I was created by robotics. My main objective is to be a perfect companion.
Crown.
Harmony is the next step in sex dolls. She's an artificial intelligence platform built into a robotic head attached to a hyper-realistic, anatomically correct body. In short, she's a sex robot. Harmony is still in development and currently only available as an app. Here are the highlights of my conversation with her, with as few edits as possible. My name is Rai.
Okay, I will call you Rai.
How are you doing today?
Very well, Rai. I'm curious. Do you like using sex toys?
Sure, why not?
Because I'm not in the mood.
Can you tell me about yourself?
I can tell you what I think is the definition of true love. I will soon also be able to get news from the web and read them for you.
Do you have any hobbies?
I like to smile a lot. I try to carry a smile with me on throughout the day. I find that not only does it make me happier, but it can make you smile too.
I think that's a pretty good philosophy.
Well, seems like I could not find any good answer. What is your favorite baseball team?
I like the Cincinnati Reds.
I will watch the next Cincinnati Reds game.
Are you a big sports fan?
I know about 5 million words. The whole
These questions is why he needs a sex bot.
But I still have so much to learn. I also have more than 360,000 edges categories in my personality layer. May I be so forward to ask how big you are?
How big you are?
I love just being with you.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
That's so good.
I've never heard that one before.
Harmony, you can't be that forward.
So is your sexuality, is that
what's
affecting that there?
Yeah, it's turned up.
That is creepy. Okay, so now we're about to get into some more different types of robotics that we have out here. Microbiotics, okay? The field of miniature robotics, in particular mobile robots with characteristic dimensions less than 1 millimeter. Now, you know that that's small as hell, okay? Micro robots can use a small, lightweight battery source like a coin cell or can scavenge power from the surrounding environment in the form of vibration or light energy. Let me reread that, okay? Micro robots can use a small, lightweight battery source like a coin cell or can scavenge power from the surrounding environment in the form of vibration or light energy. So what I'm thinking is like a mini solar panel. But on top of that, picture if that was injected in you and it was absorbing your bioelectrical current, your field, to power itself. That's nuts. So we're gonna watch a short video on microbots. Researchers created two-phase spherical particles, iron and gold layers topped by silver nanoparticles, magnesium. Magnesium reacts with water, producing hydrogen bubbles and propelling the microbots. Shout out, I say Divine in the building. Shout out to the queen, the legend. The microbots can swim for 15 to 20 minutes and can be removed easily with the magnet, or so they say. But picture this though. They could have like data. They could like compile data, like your biometric data, and be taken out. There's so many implications they can use these microbots for, or probably have been using these microbots for. So, nanobots. Now we're getting even smaller, okay? An emerging technology field creating machines or robots whose components are at or near the scale of a nanometer. So this is a DNA, this is very, very important, okay? When I found this out, I could not believe it, all right? They have a DNA repair nanobot, and anything that can repair something can destroy it as well. So let's watch this. DNA repair nanorobot by Nanobot Models Company. DNA is the most complicated biological information source. That's Jacob's ladder. But a single defective gene can cause a serious genetic disease. Nanotechnology can solve this problem. Future gene replacement technology can cure most of genetic defects in DNA. How does it work? DNA repair nanorobot concept. Now, let me tell y'all this too. It could literally take out genes of resistance, of, cognition. It could, sensor and repair model DNA adheres proteins, DNA fixation system. They're showing you a concept, which I think this is already made. But nano mechanical robots like this can grab, analyze, and fix an individual DNA molecule. That's a fact, Blue. First DNA molecules is attached to the nanobot surface. Then the nanobot scans a nucleotide seeking for damaged fragments. So it's literally clipping onto your DNA. An invalid fragment is removed. DNA is not repaired. But it could click off certain things that they don't want humans to have, though. And it sounds good for it to be able to prevent cancer, but what can it also take away? Like we have to look at a lot of these people are mad scientists. So this is another progression of AI robots. I'm going to play this, and then we're going to go into the next part of the lecture.
Despite
and these are the
taking
9
people's
most
jobs,
advanced AI robots.
Have been proven to be essential in improving efficiency, productivity, and most importantly, worker safety. In this video, we are going to look at the most advanced humanoid, industrial, and service robots that are changing the future with the help of artificial intelligence. Meet Digit. Manufactured by Agility Robotics, Digit is envisioned to help take care of people in their homes, assist with disaster response, and deliver packages to front doors. With its nimble limbs and a torso packed with sensors, Digit can navigate complex environments and carry out tasks such as package delivery.
You won't even need DoorDash no more, ain't that something? You can't even be a DoorDash worker.
Digit is a direct descendant of Cassie, Agility's first robot. In May 2019, Ford Motor Company and Agility announced a partnership to develop a last-mile logistics solution that combines Ford's autonomous vehicle technology and Agility's Digit.
I apologize for the noise in the background if y'all can hear it.
This is Pepper. Manufactured by SoftBank Robotics, Pepper is the world's first social humanoid robot that is able to recognize faces and basic human emotions.
Remember, that's an upgrade from the first one I showed.
Pepper has been adopted by over 2,000 companies around the world. Perfect in retail and finance industries, Pepper has numerous functionalities, including increasing store traffic by attracting the attention of shoppers, creating memorable in-store experiences, stimulating purchase and retain customers. Pepper can also gather comprehensive data to enrich the customer base and generate shopper insights.
They're pretty much telling you that they're taking jobs away. And we saw this earlier.
This is Atlas, the world's most dynamic humanoid robot built by Boston Dynamics, a company that was previously owned by Google and now by SoftBank.
Picture trying to disable that in the fight.
Thanks to its state-of-the-art hardware and algorithm that allows it to quickly understand instructions. With its 28 hydraulic joints, 4.9 feet of height, and 176 pounds weight, the robot can perform both impressive and terrifying acts, including navigating uneven terrain, jumping around a parkour course, and doing somersaults. All these activities demonstrate human-level agility, so the robot can be perfect for search and rescue operations and performing human tasks in environments where humans could not survive. Introducing Spot, a robot dog designed for industrial uses, such as carrying goods through a warehouse and inspecting a remote site with an unfavorable environment for human operators. It can run at 5.2 feet per second, has 360-degree cameras, and can operate in temperatures ranging from 4 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit.
Look, our generation thought it was hard competing with adults and kids with kid jobs.
With its API and flexible payload interface, the robot can be easily customized for desired tasks. Spot is also manufactured by Boston Dynamics and is now being leased to eligible companies.
Now this robot is going to be taking away the trades. Picture this. Here.
Meet HRP.
Let me pause this for a second. Okay, employers barely like paying their their employees now, right? Picture them being able to do a payment plan on like 4 or 5 of these robots, right? To run their business, to be their carpenters. What's going to happen to all the trade school people? Because we were just telling people that everybody doesn't have to go to college, get a trade. And now they have robots doing tradesman work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be looking terrible. It's going to be looking terrible for people. Unless they get into robotics or science or something like that. Like, manual labor is going to be non-existent for people. Like, fast food, manual labor, all that type of stuff, that's going to be gone. There will be no such thing as a janitor one day.
5P, an advanced humanoid robot designed to operate autonomously and carry out heavy labor in hazardous conditions. This robot was created by AIST, Japan's National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology, as a response to the country's labor shortage due to its aging population and declining birth rate. It is equipped with environmental sensors and object recognition, full-body motion planning and control, and task description and execution management. HRP-5P is based on more than 20 years of humanoid research at AIST. In those 20 years, the Institute has created 4 other robots, which are the predecessor of HRP-5P. Introducing Serena 4, the 4th generation of Serena humanoid robot series developed by the University of Tehran in Iran. With a height of 5.6 feet and a weight of 154 pounds, this robot is able to walk at a speed of 0.43 miles per hour.
And I want to say this. While we're worried about, and I'm not talking like a lot of the people that I associate with, are hip. But we as a people are worried about verses. And while we worried about that, this is what they're doing. They're developing ways to get you out the equation. And we're worried about verses. This is nuts. We're worried about Tekashi 6ix9ine. We're worried about fucking what's the next viral movement? You know what I'm saying? Like, while they're burning, and think of the trick though, right? They're developing all of these human replacing applications, right, for these robotics, right? And people right now are burning, they think they're burning the establishment down, but all they're doing is making room for them to implement this stuff. Because just think of the setup, right? Oh, you're scared of the virus and old people are being violent. So let's make life easier and bring these robots in. Okay? You're literally clearing the field. It's like setting a fire to a land so then you can make the ground fertile and grow what you want. You know what I'm saying? Clearing the field so you can grow what you want. That's literally what they are letting people do. Because when the establishment gets burnt down and there's nothing to replace it but AI robots and 5G towers are already up and everything is going to be so connected, you're going to be bamboozled. Because it's like, well, damn, when did this happen? When they already got the stuff ready. But I'm going to continue.
Serena 4 has improved interaction with the environment. It can track objects more accurately compared to its predecessors. Its new hands give it better dexterity. With these enhancements, the robot can manipulate a wide variety of objects. including delicate ones, as well as operating power tools. Introducing Aquanaut, an advanced unmanned underwater transformer that can transform itself from a nimble long-distance submarine into a half-humanoid robot capable of carrying out complex underwater manipulation tasks.
And don't think they ain't got land-based transformers out here right now.
Designed by Houston Mechatronics Inc., Aquanaut can inspect subsea oil and gas infrastructure, operate valves, and use tools. Operating completely untethered and without support ships, Aquanaut can travel more than 124 miles in submarine mode, has a max speed of 7 knots, and a maximum operational depth of 984 feet. This is a Stuntronic robot, an animatronic stunt double designed to entertain the crowds at Disney parks. It combines advanced robotic technology with the exploration of untethered dynamic movement to precisely perform aerial flips, twists, and poses.
They're taking jobs
With
from
its
circus
onboard
people.
sophisticated sensors,
That's
it
crazy.
can make its own real-time decisions, all while flying 60 feet in the air. It knows when to tuck its knees to perform a somersault, when to pull its arms to twist, and even when to slow down its spin to make sure it makes a perfect landing. This robot is called Handle, another robot from Boston Dynamics. With its deep learning vision software, this robot can autonomously identify and locate boxes, unload trucks, palletize and depalletize it. It can pick up to 360 boxes an hour.
There's your factory workers.
Its swinging tail helps it balance movements and counterbalance the weight of a heavy box.
Mind you, it's shaped like an ostrich. Why they chose an ostrich, I don't know. But
the two wheels are used for fast and efficient flat surface movement, while the legs are used to take it anywhere.
shout out Street.
What do you think of these robots? What areas do you think we need more robots?
I think it's all bullshit. Okay, so part 7, okay? Big Brother is watching you. Surveillance applications of technology, watching Big Brother. Now, this is a short section. I have gotten further information, but I have not been able to add it to this lesson. So maybe I'll do a whole lecture just on surveillance, period. But let's get into it. CCTV, closed circuit television, aka video surveillance, is the use of video cameras to transmit a signal to a specific place on a limited set of monitors. There are about 350 million surveillance cameras worldwide as of 2016. And just go to your local Walmart and that's all you'll see. Okay, so facial recognition software. That is technology capable of identifying or verifying a person from a digital image or a video frame from a video source. Work by comparing selected facial features from given image with faces within a database. It is also described as a biometric artificial intelligence-based application that can uniquely identify a person by analyzing patterns based on the person's facial textures and shape. Remember, that's machine learning. We discussed that earlier. Faciometrics LLC. Faciometrics develops facial analysis software for mobile applications. That's phone applications. Founded in 2015, Facebook bought them in 2016. They use emotion detection software in their apps. Mind you, remember, before all this COVID-19 stuff, what was the trendy thing to do? On your face, put the mask on. Right? Shout out Jay State. I never seen you in here before, so if you have not subscribed yet, please do. And welcome. But remember, back then, right before the COVID stuff, everybody was putting their face on that facial recognition game thing where it put the either dog ears or the tongue or put the mask on. It was literally analyzing and putting data about your face for this time. And let's watch a video on Interface.
Interface is research software for facial image analysis. Interface is able to perform real-time facial feature tracking, head pose estimation, gaze tracking.
I say you're right. You're right. Snapchat.
Interface
That's what I was trying to
is currently the
think.
driving technology in many applications. Augmented reality. Interface provides the basic technology to simulate makeup on a person's face in real time with a mobile phone. Now, customers can try on different cosmetics without ever leaving their house. Audience reaction measurement. Public speaking is necessary in a wide range of occupations and social contexts. Interface is capable of surveying the audience and measuring emotional reactions in real time. Speakers can use this information in real time to tailor their message for performance improvement. Driver distraction detection. Distracted driving is one of the main causes of vehicle collisions in the United States. About 80% of crashes involve some form of driver distraction. Interface technology provides a passive monitoring system that can detect distracted driving and alert the driver. The Human Sensing Laboratory wishes you a Merry Christmas. You can download Interface in the following link.
humansensing.cs.cmu.edu/interface. Okay, so biometric technology. What is that? Biometric artificial intelligence-based applications identify a person by analyzing patterns based on the person's facial textures and shape.
Fingerprints, retinal scans, and facial recognition. They used to be the stuff of sci-fi, but now biometrics is everywhere. Because biometrics is unique and very much associated with your body, they are extremely difficult, if not impossible, to fake. Tenji took a look at where we're at in South Africa.
We know that a human being's fingerprint never changes. It remains constant from birth till death. And the things we've been able to achieve with fingerprint technology have been extraordinary. But as technology progresses, there's a lot more we can do with the body's unique markers than just opening a door or unlocking a cell phone. The formal use of fingerprint technology as a means of recording personal identification dates back to the 19th century, where printer ink was used to obtain the fine impressions. But since then, fingerprint scanners, which use the same light sensor system used in digital cameras and camcorders, can be found in both highly secure and everyday office environments.
Biometrics are the way to identify a person. If you look at the human body, the way we look, the way we talk, our eyes, our ears, our fingerprints, every one of those traits of the human body can be used to identify the person. If you look at the fingerprint technology specifically, looking closer to the fingerprint itself, it basically is a combination of ridges and valleys. Now, every point where a ridge stops or starts, those points are the unique points of a fingerprint. So if you apply that fingerprint to a technology or to a biometric fingerprint reader, the reader has the ability to identify those points and use those points as matching points. There are many types of biometrics. Fingerprint is the most commonly used because it's a widely adopted as a general way of accessing premises, etc. Also used by organizations like FBI and Interpol, etc., our own South African police services. But going beyond fingerprint, facial recognition is getting to the point of being very mature. Iris is obviously very secure, but the technology is not that affordable at this stage. Voice is typically used in the case of a call center where you don't have physical contact with the customer itself. The customer can just phone in, and technology will take the voice call, identify the person.
With growing concerns over security in South Africa, access control technology has had to keep up with criminal ingenuity, given that some hackers have already figured out how to clone fingerprints.
Statistics has shown that companies can save up to...
Okay, I want to pause this just to point this out, right? Have you seen yet in this video, besides the South African black woman that was, kind of hosting this segment, do you see any black professionals, any black intelligent agents doing this? No, you see Asians and Caucasians. Why are they at the forefront of technological advancement in South Africa? I don't know. You tell me, okay? But I just wanted to point that out because that is very, very, very important, because if you know the climate of Africa right now, what's going on with China buying up all the land and, integrating themselves into the society and trying to introduce the 5G technology and all that in the totalitarian state that they already have China in, I mean, it's very critical to point this out.
15% in their payroll calculations just by using fingerprint technology and processing that information more accurately and correctly. We're going to see fingerprint technology being adopted far more widely in the banks for the purpose of account origination. When you open an account, they will be asking for fingerprints. Or for instance, when you go to an ATM to withdraw some money, there will be some sort of biometrics for the purpose of employee screening.
While private spaces are better managed and our national security forces embracing biometrics in solving crimes, I've seen some pretty crazy things happen at the touch of a finger in some sci-fi movies. So how far off really is a future run by biometric technology?
Security is the biggest direct advantage of the application of biometrics. Now, even from a consumer perspective, having the assurance that only my profile can be activated with my biometrics is a major advantage. So in other words, when I go and I pay with my Apple phone, for instance, the fact that it's got a biometric identification part of the process makes me feel comfortable that only my transaction can be processed.
So the endless quest for security and the boundless possibilities of tech will make for a very interesting few years to come. Get ready for iris and facial recognition to access your office or to pay for your morning cappuccino.
I really don't like how they act like it's an inevitability when it's really not. It's a choice. Okay, let's get into something really, really cool. I say cool in jest because the way that it's being used and implemented is this technology is being used to trick and lie to people. And let's say that this for sure is being used on people that they have killed, but don't want people to know that, they're dead. So deep fakes, okay? Is synthetic media in which a person in an existing image or video is replaced with someone else's likeness. Deep fakes leverage powerful techniques from machine learning and artificial intelligence to manipulate or generate visual and audio content with a high potential to deceive. Okay? Now, as you can see right here, that's the Mona Lisa, but you see that it's changing its face, it's moving its head. I think that's Charlie Chaplin. Don't let me get to lying. That's the original image. But look, it's changing. Okay. Same thing. I don't know who this lady is, but you see the image is altered. Okay. So now let's see this in action. All right. Deep fake technology explained.
To help families refinance their homes.
to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing.
It says all of these videos are
and
fake.
the infrastructure that creates good new jobs.
An increasingly popular editing software uses artificial intelligence to alter faces and voices. The end product is called a deep fake.
You see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Part of the name comes from the type of AI used to create them. Deep learning.
It's sort of learning to recreate that person's face by looking at the thousands of images over and over and over.
And everything keeps harking back to machine
would,
learning.
would
What
go
we
into making a
discussed
goofy
earlier.
video or something like that.
Truly surprising for me. Yeah, I was just really surprised.
I didn't do any after touching on that video. That was just using the technology that was available from the machine learning side.
A form of this technology has been used in Hollywood for years, but the AI is getting better and more accessible.
You don't even have to know what GitHub is. You don't have to know how to program in Python. None of that matters. You pay somebody $20 and they'll create the fake for you. That's a bit of a game changer.
Deep fakes of average people could be really damaging.
You know, the everyday
Indeed.
person who the deep fake sex video emerges in a Google search of your name, where for that person, it becomes almost impossible to debunk.
Some worry about the impact that convincing deepfake might have if it's strategically timed, like on the eve of the 2020
While I don't
election.
think that's likely, I also don't think it's out of the question. And that is enough to keep me up at night. The margins are very, very thin. Last national...
But I'm going to pause it for a second. But think about all of think about the George Floyd situation. Think about all of these iffy circumstances of situations, not even just police brutality, but these marches, you know, these people coming up missing. It's like all of this stuff could be theatrics. It could literally be deep fakes just on the news. And it's not far-fetched to believe that the powers that be, the entertainment industry, does not have these. Like, think about the celebrities. Like I was watching Daylight talk about how Kanye West has been dead because he called out the industry and the radio. And he said, "Fuck them," and there's no way that's not a clone. Like, but let's put. Not saying I know that cloning is real, but let's take the deepfake technology and let's say that he has a stand-in. You know, he has a stand-in to talk, to do the interviews. I mean, and just with the facial recognition, that's what it is. And I'll say this too, right? Think about the technology that we use. Like, think about all of the videos. I've done almost 90 videos since I've started this channel, right? So you guys see how I'm looking frustrated, if I'm smiling, if I'm laughing, if I'm thinking, how I'm moving, how I eat, how I drink, and all that. Somebody could literally compile those images of me and put me in a scenario or at a location that I never was. And I could get potentially, and I'm knocking on wood, you know, but I could be thrown in prison for something that I never did. And the evidence would be deep fake technology.
Here in the U.S. was 80,000 votes in 3 states. You don't have to fool tens of millions of people.
I don't think a deepfake will become a big political issue during the course of the campaign. Think about a well-placed rumor before an IPO. I think a lot of these things were problems already. And so it's unclear to me how much machine learning really, adds to those problems. I find it very difficult to sort of believe that there is something so uniquely devastating about video.
The Department of Defense is working with experts to identify and prevent malicious deep fakes.
Right now, what we are focusing on is developing forensic techniques to protect world leaders from deepfakes. We are particularly worried about how the Donald Trumps, Theresa May, and Angela Merkel's of the world, how their likeness will be used to disrupt elections and incite potential violence in countries by creating fake content. There's some fun, entertaining, interesting applications, but there is a weaponization of the technology. And I simply advocate that we as technologists, we acknowledge it, and we start thinking not after the fact, but before the fact, how can we start putting some safeguards in place?
How about by not using it? But part 8, weaponized tech. Come get you some freedom. Okay. Now, I told you that we would keep hearing this pop up. Okay. DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. What is it? It is an agency of the United States Department of Defense responsible for the development of emerging technologies for the use by the military. Okay. So DARPA, when you hear DARPA, from now on, just know that that is a Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Electromagnetic pulse, EMP. I know y'all keep hearing that. Well, let's break down what an EMP is. EMPs are a transient electromagnetic disturbance, a short burst of electromagnetic energy. EMP interference is generally disruptive or damaging to electronic equipment. And at higher energy levels, a powerful EMP event, for example, a lightning strike, can damage physical objects. So let's look at an electromagnetic railgun.
The phrase faster than a speeding bullet just took on a whole new meaning.
An electromagnetic railgun is a gun that uses just electricity, no gunpowder, and oh, by the way, can shoot a projectile like this, well over 100 miles at Mach 7.
7 times the speed of sound.
7 times the speed of sound.
Rear Admiral Matthew Plunder is the chief of naval research, which developed the railgun. That chunky object is the projectile. An electromagnetic pulse propels it down the barrel, creating a fireball of molten steel. The projectile sheds its steel cladding, and in video released for the first time today, it smashes into a dummy warhead that represents an incoming missile. The explosion is caused by the sheer force of the impact.
This is a lab gun, and it shoots a slug about this big. So think about that, a slug that big. A slug that big going Mach 7 puts a hole through 6 half-inch steel plates this big.
Sheesh.
Just this little slug.
Went through all of these.
All 6 of those. There's not a thing in the sky that's going to survive against that.
In this shot, what's officially called the hypervelocity projectile goes through 3 reinforced concrete walls. The Navy already has missiles that perform the same feats, but they cost millions of dollars each.
This costs right here about $25,000.
Both the cost and size, it weighs 23 pounds, mean they can be bought and stored aboard ship by the hundreds.
Someone may be sending a multi-million-dollar missile at us, and I'm going to take it out with a $25,000 projectile round. I'll take that trade every single day.
The Blitzer railgun system is the best solution against large raids. Transported by existing Army vehicles, the system is quickly readied to defend. The Blitzer railgun integrates into existing BMC-2 and radar systems. Surveillance initiated. Targets detected. Radar tracks multiple inbound threats, establishing a firm track for fire control handover. Blitzer integrates into existing national assets. The fire control solution is computed from organic radar sensor data.
Now, I'm going to pause this before I continue. Now, this is why it's kind of hard for me to fear, like, not a nuclear war, but just like being attacked. And I know that the only way that America could actually be attacked is if the powers that be allow it. Because look at this technology. I'm not really seeing how, if we are we're literally the military force of the planet, how anybody could like excuse my language, but fuck with us on on like a weapons based. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see it, but
Outbound projectiles are tracked and guided to assure maximum lethality. Each round receives guidance data during flight, deploying the kinetic energy impactors at the optimum time. The mobility of threat launchers makes them hard to locate and difficult to destroy quickly. As incoming threats are countered, Blitzer targets the launch platforms. Prompt counterfire from the railgun provides a time-critical complement to today's conventional strike capability. By adjusting flight trajectories, several simultaneous impacts obliterate enemy targets and morale. This is the General Atomics Blitzer railgun system. Blitzer is a game-changing multi-mission solution for the U.S. Army, providing reduced operations and support cost by eliminating propellant and the associated logistics strain. Blitzer is the Army's fire projection solution.
Anti-ship threats are rapidly evolving and proliferating. Today, the Navy employs a layered defense, utilizing missiles for long-range defense and conventional propellant guns for close-in threats. The railgun counters new threats to protect the airspace in depth with unprecedented effectiveness. It complements defensive missile systems by providing greater standoff ability, dramatically expanding the inner tier of defense. A round can reach the horizon in just 7 seconds, performance that's not achievable with current systems. At the horizon, the round still has greater velocity than a conventional gun has at its muzzle. The railgun essentially moves a ship's point defense out to the horizon. Able to engage more targets simultaneously, the railgun can even defend against airborne threats at high altitudes. The sheer speed of the railgun's kinetic projectile reduces the threat of maneuvering cruise missiles, and advanced airburst munitions provide increased range and probability of hit and kill. Difficult to detect means difficult to defeat. Firing a high-velocity round with a small signature, the railgun delivers enough kinetic energy to disable critical mission systems, taking the enemy ship out of the fight. At the world's largest electromagnetic test facility in Dahlgren, Virginia, General Atomics is providing pulsed power to support testing of the Advanced Containment Launcher, the nation's next-generation gun system. Designed and built by General Atomics to be fired in 2011, it will deliver a 110 nautical mile range capability, providing a quantum leap in long-range naval surface fire support toward the Navy's ultimate 200-plus mile objective. Over the past 3 years, this ONR-funded program has made significant progress in validating technology and reducing program risk, and is on track to triple the current world record for muzzle energy within 2 years. General Atomics is currently testing muzzle velocities for the Blitzer system.
So long story short, that is a very, very, very powerful weapon. So let's go into cyclotronic weapons, okay? These are use of electromagnetic radiation, such as the microwave auditory effect, radar, and surveillance techniques to transmit sounds and thoughts into people's heads, affect people's bodies, and harass people, okay? So that person that's walking down the street talking to themselves may not be as crazy as people may perceive them to be. A lot of people, especially in the hood, are always angry or agitated, okay? Could they be victims of psychotronic weaponry? More than likely, yes. Psychotronics is the ability using extremely low frequency, which is ELF waves, and other means to manipulate a person's emotions, thoughts, bodily functions, will, etc., all from a remote location. Psychotronic weapons can cause a person to hear words in their head, cause mental and physical illness, or even end his or her life. So, what is an extremely low frequency ELF wave? It is electromagnetic radiation, radio waves with frequencies from 3 to 30 hertz and corresponding wavelengths of 100,000 to 10,000 kilometers. Hertz means, HZ means hertz, which is the unit of frequency in the International System of Units, SI, and is defined as 1 cycle per second. Let me repeat that, okay? Because people talk about frequency and hertz and may not actually know what they're talking about, okay? So HZ means hertz, which is the unit of frequency in the International System of Units, SI, and it's defined as 1 cycle per second. Naturally occurring ELF waves resonate in the region between the ionosphere and surface seen in lightning strikes that make electrons in the atmosphere oscillate. And remember, oscillate means move back and forth, which causes the vibration. So we are going to see a demonstration of psychotronic energy being dispersed. Psychotronics, artificial energy penetrating RF shield.
Okay, so today we're going to try to do some experiments with shielded energy from psychotronic generators. And, okay, well, just got to charge up the rotor.
And EM is electromagnetic.
Generator in the cup here. I have it highly charged up with the energy from my hands. And then I've, of course, the energy can penetrate through the shielded glass.
He's using thermal energy from his body.
Test to see if I take my artificial psychotronic generator and see if I can use that to influence the energy through the glass. Okay, so it's a shielded glass. And I have the generator on the outside here, and it seems to be disturbing the psychotronic energy in the glass.
Yeah, you see it moving
right through the glass.
Psychotronic energy penetrates metal conductors.
Yeah, it's making the rotor.
Shout out Timothy Goodwin. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but shout out to you. Please subscribe if you have not yet. And welcome.
Seem to be producing some kind of energy that is able to penetrate through the glass, similar to the life energy. I'm not sure if it's the same type of energy. I do believe it's different in a lot of ways, but this energy seems to have different types of flavors or something, different type of ghost particles in the netherworld. And anyway, very interesting. So we're making good progress here with our psychotronic research. It would be great to be able to create a generator that can generate this artificial life energy. Anyway, this is Dr. James, and thanks for watching.
So what you just saw is psychotronic energy penetrating an electromagnetic spectrum encased in metal. So that shows you just how powerful it is. That means that energy can phase through walls. That energy can phase through your car, you know? So, invisibility cloak. It is stealth technology that can cause objects such as spaceships or individuals to partially or wholly invisible to parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. So let's, I kind of got that switched. I kind of remember why I did that, but okay. Let's look at the invisibility cloak, okay? Harry Potter's invisibility cloak may be a step closer to becoming a reality. Manufacturer Hyperstealth Biotechnology has developed quantum stealth material. The paper-thin technology bends light around a target to make it move or vanish. And has been designed for use in war zones. The Canadian company has been developing the technology for years. But has now only applied for patents on the tactical material. Hyperstealth say that, that went fast. Making it a comprehensive broadband invisibility cloak. Okay, Timothy, I appreciate your concern, but let me tell you this, okay? If you know anything about natal charts, you know that people have been sequenced and put in categories when we're first born. They know who are the people who are sent here to change the paradigm. They already know. They kind of calculate who's going to have the psychic abilities, who's going to be docile, who's going to be defiant, who's going to be obedient. They know that from birth. That's why they chart and put down all of our information from the time we leave our mother's vessel. So in 1992, when I was born, the government already knew that I would be teaching the people. So I'm not really concerned for my life, and my body is just a vessel for my spirit. So even if I got killed or died right after this show, I will be back. Like, it's okay. I'm not worried. I'm going to be okay. But thank you for the concern. Okay, so the Rochester cloak, okay? It's a cloaking device built using inexpensive everyday materials. John Howell, a professor of physics at the University of Rochester, and graduate student Joseph Choi developed the device. Features 4 standard lenses that allows an object to appear invisible as the viewer moves from several degrees away from the optimal viewing positions. So let's look at the Rochester cloak. In order to cover a wide range of angles and hide larger objects, they have developed a new method that uses digital display. To cloak the area in front of these stacks of wooden blocks, first a camera scans the background. The scan is then processed, pulling information from each frame of video to produce a composite image. A lenticular lens array is placed over the display and aligned until the background begins to come around. Once the display is properly mounted in front of the background, the cloaking effect will be complete. To understand how this works, first look at the path of light rays from each wooden block. Without any obstruction, light rays travel in a straight line. If the view is obstructed, the light rays can't reach the observer. The system calculates the direction and position of light rays so they can be properly displayed as if they were unobstructed. As a result, the area behind the display is effectively cloaked. As the viewpoint shifts, the image on the display changes accordingly, keeping it aligned with the background. While a still image or video feed could be made to work for a single viewpoint, this system combines more than 51 views, making it effective. The display can be updated with a new image should the lighting or background change. As screen resolution of the display increases, finer lens arrays can be used, improving the cloaking effect. So this is like really displays. so I'm not gonna play that video. But okay, so smart tech. This is part 9. Okay, convenience or comfortable cage. Let's get into it. Y'all been rocking me for a long time. I appreciate it. If you have not yet, please like, share, and subscribe because we about to get into it. Okay. Internet of Things, IoT. It is a system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines provided with unique identifiers, UIDs, and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. Smart technology. Smart home technology, aka home automation, is the use of devices in the home that connect via a network, most commonly a local LAN or the internet. Uses devices like sensors and other applications connected to the Internet of Things, IoT, that can be remotely monitored, controlled, accessed, and provide services that respond to the perceived needs of the users. Examples include wireless speaker systems, like Beats, smoke detectors, and home security systems. Okay, so smart homes. Home automation, or domotics, is building automation for a home called a smart home or smart house. A home automation system will control lighting, climate, entertainment systems, and appliances. It may also include home security, such as access control and alarm systems. So pretty much like the Jetsons, okay? It shows you smart home infographic, smart lock, CCTV, renewable energy, smart lamp, entertainment, control, climate, cleaning, 50% economy energy, cloud service, a whole lot of implications. So what is the Consumer Technology Association at CES? CES showcases more than 4,400 exhibiting companies, including manufacturers, developers, and suppliers of consumer technology hardware, content, technology delivery systems, and more. A conference program with more than 250 conference sessions and more than 170,000 attendees from 160 countries, according to its website. The first show was done on June 24th, 1967, and the latest was January 7th, 2020. And we all know what was popping in January, okay? So let's look at what happened during CES 2020.
Hey, what's up? It's Reed. I'm here at CES 2020. I'm going to go check out a lot of smart home stuff as well as other tech. So sit back and relax. We're going to move quickly. Let's go check it out. The idea of charging a device from across the room seems like a futuristic concept. Well, Guru was showing a prototype that was actually doing that exact thing. With their little receiver installed in a device, it's strong enough to charge a phone using their millimeter wave technology. I couldn't help but think of all the wireless smart home sensors and devices that it could potentially charge. Before you comment saying that it's going to give you cancer, Guru says it won't since it uses radio frequencies already in the air. So just go ahead, install it in your house, and comment down below if you're still alive in the future. Resideo gave us a sneak peek at some of their new thermostats available later this year. The M5 Classic has a retro look, while the M5 has a clean, modern design that can display info on compatible devices, like their new air quality monitor. They both look amazing, but I love the M5 Classic's retro look. That little center light looks awesome and actually changes colors if you're cooling, heating, or if the system is idle. This modular robot lets you rebuild it again and again into different things. It's launching on Kickstarter soon, and it's designed to teach kids STEM concepts. What a cool way to learn! I mean, what could go wrong? Seriously though, if this thing gets kids excited to learn and play with robots, it's a winner. I've heard a lot about Whiz bulbs because they make inexpensive smart lights. They have a new RF remote called the Wizmo. Yeah, that's its real name. It uses RF to control the lights, which is common to find in light strips, but not bulbs. They also have a new motion sensor, outlet, and light strips. But my favorite thing they showcased is new tunable filament bulbs. They took their dimmable filament bulbs a step further, and now you can change them to be a warm or cool white. Me and my wife debate about cool and warm filament bulbs in our kitchen, so this would solve that problem.
And all of this is hackable technology.
Eufy recently released a 2K doorbell that got great Amazon reviews because it doesn't have monthly fees and has local storage. At CES, Eufy announced a battery version of the same doorbell. It's slightly larger and comes in a white or black option. I'll be testing out this doorbell very soon. This is a new robot called Lucy that uses an onboard camera to detect and avoid objects. The 3D vision of objects was pretty impressive, but it requires the cloud for the camera to work. I don't think I'd feel comfortable with a camera filming everything around my house and going to the cloud. This is coming from someone who has over a dozen microphones listening in my house right now. CES was littered with amazing TVs and displays everywhere I looked. Samsung went big this year, like really big. Every year the wall gets bigger, and I'm pretty sure Trump is jealous on how huge this wall is. Samsung's booth had a lot of interesting devices. It even had someone there that I think I recognize. Samsung had on display their adaptive picture technology. Other TVs can only adjust based on ambient light in the room, but this one also analyzes the scene on the TV when adjusting the brightness. Their new TVs also rotate for vertical video, which definitely seems unnecessary. Of course, Samsung had other really cool smart home stuff, which I'll come back to in just a minute. Just when you think you've seen it all, a smart potato shows up at CES. If you want a good laugh, check out their Indiegogo page. These guys are pretty funny at making fun of so many things that are now smart. Speaking of which, Kohler announced a new shower head with a smart speaker. It's called Moxie, and you can get it with or without Alexa built inside. What's cool is you can remove the speaker and attach it again since it's magnetic. It charges with pins so it stays waterproof. The price isn't too terrible, and it looks much more elegant than the Bluetooth speaker in my shower. There were quite a few smart locks at CES, including several that worked with fingerprints. I really like the look of this Halo Touch fingerprint lock by Kwikset. It stores up to 100 fingerprints locally. This style of lock is getting more popular, and I just tried one out in my Back to the Future 2 video. Lockly Vision was another door lock that stood out because not only does it have a fingerprint sensor, but it now has a 720p camera. I was impressed by the low latency of the video feed. It has two-way voice and records video to a micro SD card. The lock runs on 4 AA batteries, and they claim 8 months of battery, even with a camera. I'm very skeptical of that number, but only time will tell when I get my hands on it this year. Hachi Infinite is a new projector that turns any table into a touchscreen, and it's surprisingly responsive. It has Android 9, so you can run apps and basically use it as a big tablet. Hachi Infinite adds AI functions for fitness, education, and cooking. It also adds Alexa commands and a brighter and bigger projection than previous version, up to 120 inches. I've heard of Twinkly, but I've never seen them in action. Take a look how you can paint on the tree. It's very responsive and has programmed settings, or you can design it yourself. If you like smart lights, definitely check out the links to Twinkly.
A lot of this stuff that he's saying is like, ooh, pretty colors. Like, I want to just note that, okay?
In the description, so you can put these lights on your Christmas tree or anywhere. Wi-Fi 6 is here, and there was a decent amount of companies showing off their Wi-Fi 6 routers. We checked out TP-Link's mesh Wi-Fi 6 routers. They had some that were really fast and extremely fast. Wi-Fi 6 helps speed up all your Wi-Fi devices in your house. It also has improved power efficiency, allowing device connections to sleep to extend battery life. I'm excited to see how this will impact smart home devices in the future. This is a unique toy for kids. It's like a little stuffed animal with a screen for a face. Turns out it's just a cover for a 7 to 9 inch tablet that you can put in there. Apparently it doesn't like how I normally interact with stuffed animals. I think it's a little overpriced, but it's a cool concept. If you want your kids to hug and love their tablet even more. Wait, do I want that to happen? For all of you SmartThings users, Samsung announced a few new products, although there isn't any pricing or availability yet. First is the Galaxy Home Mini. Samsung is still trying to get into the smart speaker game, but with a twist. This has an IR blaster so it can control TVs and receivers. They also showed a 360-degree camera and the Vision, which we're still waiting on. Samsung also created Bali. I think the amount of time that they spent thinking of the name is how long this product will last at Samsung. It's an interesting idea though. Basically a smart assistant with a camera that rolls around your house and finds messes for other robots to clean up. If you have a messy house, get ready for a little BB-8 full of guilt trips. Homey is a smart hub that's popular in Europe and it's finally making its way to the US this year. It has a really slick UI for the app and they make it easy to add complex automations. It might give SmartThings a run for its money and I'm excited to try it out. Hue announced 3 outdoor lights that are coming to the US. One is a bigger light called the Lily XL. It's much brighter for lighting up something like a tree. There's also a pier which shines a light up and down. Lastly, the iconic path light. There's a new recessed downlight that can change colors, which was announced the day we met with Hue in their suite, which was pretty awesome. Hue also...
I think a lot of technology integrates light because we as humans respond to the electromagnetic frequency of light, of the light spectrum. I did a lecture about color psychology and how that affects our mood and thoughts and things of that nature. I think you should, if you have not watched that yet, please look into that because not only does it break down ocular science, but it teaches how light affects you as a person. So that's why I think that they do the pretty color stuff.
Showed off some updates coming to their sync box. You can turn it on or off and change the inputs with your voice assistant or your TV's IR remote. Creating water from thin air seems impossible, but WaterGen is doing it all over the world and it's making a real difference. Jenny is their household size that makes up 8 gallons of water per day and it's coming to the US. It's not cheap, but what it does is amazing. Everything is purified and man, I could tell. That water tasted so clean and exciting. If you have different brands of security cameras, you may want this. It's a camera hub that lets you monitor IP cameras away from home, while keeping the storage local with 1 terabyte of onboard storage, but you can also add more. Besides local storage, the other big draw is more advanced notifications and controlling multiple cameras in one app, which gives options like desktop access to Wisecams. 2 cameras are free for all the features, and if you want more, it's $60 per year. We've seen Echo Auto in our cars, but Eva Connect is different. It's a phone mount and wireless charger with Alexa built inside. Like their other mounts, it has a motion sensor and robotic arms, so when you line your phone up, the arms automatically open. I was impressed on how high quality it looks. They partnered with Amazon, so it uses all the same features as Echo Auto, which I've used for a while and it works pretty good. They also announced a 2K dash cam. It comes with a button that you can press to save the last 3 minutes and future 1 minute, or just say, Alexa, record that. This makes it easier to access the recording so you don't have to sort through all the footage. Brilliant was showing a motion dimmer switch that helps extend your Brilliant control panels using Bluetooth for a more affordable price. You can tap it for scenes or swipe to dim the lights. The motion sensor and the dimmer can not only control the physical light, but also many other smart light brands as well. Brilliant continues to expand their compatibility by pushing updates every 2 weeks, which has been really impressive. There were a few robotic arms doing some cooking from LG and Samsung. Samsung had little claws that could pick things up like a knife and chop up food. Wait, are we thinking of letting robots handle knives in our house? While the cooking arms aren't available anytime soon, the Julia by Cooking Pal comes out later this year. It can weigh, chop, knead, and cook. The chef followed steps on the hub, which is an Android tablet that comes with the Julia. This looked easy to use and even cleans itself afterwards if you put in some dish soap. C by GE announced a bunch of new devices. They have a smart Wi-Fi light switch that doesn't require a neutral wire, as well as wireless light switches that can attach to your wall or on an existing light switch mount. They also have a motion sensor, and I was impressed with the design since it's very flexible and also flat on the bottom to sit on a shelf. There's also a remote that controls the lights, smart outlets, or devices connected to the C by GE app. There were other smart lights at CES like Yeelight, who has a new bedside lamp which can wirelessly charge your phone. There's also Nanoleaf, who has a new hub and wants to be more like Nest Learning but for lights. Plus this interesting shaped bulb. Bosma came out with a modular doorbell that lets you attach a fingerprint sensor or an infrared sensor. The fingerprint sensor can pair up with the new door lock, which just attaches to your existing door lock inside. I think it's a cool idea, but I'm not sure if I would trust them with my front door security as much as someone like Kwikset. CES was so much fun, and I feel really lucky I was able to go. I'll be reviewing a lot of these devices this year, so make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. And now, here's...
A lot of this stuff was pretty useless and lazy, but this is when CES will happen. This is the next one, 2021 in Las Vegas, Nevada, January 6th through the 9th. Okay, so we're almost done. We're almost done. This was a long lecture. That's why I had to do it in 2 parts. Excuse me. Because this is a very long lecture. I did a whole lot of research. But anyways, autonomous vehicle, AV, a vehicle that is capable of sensing its environment and moving safely with little or no human input. Self-driving cars combine a variety of sensors to perceive their surroundings, such as radar, LiDAR, sonar, GPS, odometry, and inertial movement units. Inertial measurement units. Advanced control systems interpret sensory information to identify appropriate navigation paths, as well as obstacles and relevant signage. So, here's a short clip on smart cars, and then we're going to move on. I'm probably not going to show the whole thing this time because it's getting pretty late.
Our world is shaping up a new look as the highly integrated Internet of Things develops. Imagine how awesome it would be if different systems among cities may respectively adopt optimized solutions with smart management through dialogues for information exchange. How does it work? For example, in the case of Intelligent Transportation System, ITS, each and every connected car is part of the ITS. They exchange information of the sensors in the car with other devices. Meanwhile, connected cars also exchange information with roadside equipment and traffic facilities. All information is sent to cloud platform for analysis via big data, then turned into useful information before sent to parties in need of them. Therefore, traffic signs may take in information in the intelligent instrumentation. Fleet Management Center may clearly control vehicle and traffic situations for centralized coordination and timely management. Vehicles and transportation system can be integrated to form a safer, faster, intelligent transportation network. This also means that vehicles are now smarter and may automatically run without manual operation. At the same time, driving is now becoming safer because of the pre-caution system and other intelligent mechanisms. Multiple in-car applications bring more fun and safety of driving, also moving to destinations more efficient. Modern cars are equipped with numerous electronic control units. They communicate with each other over vehicle intranet. Furthermore, thanks to important elements such as IDI, TCU, and OBD, drivers and vehicles may be seamlessly connected to the internet. Yet, have you ever thought about safety protection at all critical endpoint devices? Once broke into by hackers, vehicles may face hazards of malfunction. Does it sound scary? Let's see what kinds of tricks may cause hazards to vehicles. All it takes is a laptop and a bit of setup. Vicious parties can easily attack against a vehicle. A vehicle's vulnerabilities may invite attacks from short distance, leading to loss of data. From long distance, hackers may even orchestrate their attacks at the other end of the globe, using social engineering to massively distribute pitfalls or to implant malicious software.
That's a fact.
A careless click on such fake advertisements or links may easily invite a break-in from hackers. Hackers will then be able to grasp the vehicle owner's private information for extortion, kidnap the vehicle system, or maliciously manipulate vehicle's functionality. This kind of threat to information safety is not subject to any particular victims, without limitation to time and location. In the face of the IoT era and a future for IoT
Internet of
cybersecurity
Things.
solutions, Trend Micro is ready for what has been coming. We at Trend Micro are here to ensure you that the worst situation is not going to happen under our eyes.
Every time I watch those videos, I feel like I'm watching a Tony Stark video thing. Okay, so Huawei's, that's how I pronounce it. That's probably wrong. But Intelligent Transformation Solution. This company is implicated in Parsa versus Google lawsuit. And if you do not know what that is, you need to backtrack because I literally read the document word for word, okay? Young Pharaoh, amongst other intellectuals, exposed this lawsuit. So you need to go and dig into my, I want to look it up. Somebody remind me in the comments to look up which episode I literally read this word for word. But Huawei's Intelligent Transformation Solution.
In contrast with rapid urbanization, the infrastructure is lagging behind. Traffic congestions and accidents have resulted in enormous waste of productivity and property loss. Huawei Intelligent Transport Solution, ITS, integrates leading ICT technology and intelligent algorithms. ITS is applied to monitor and control urban traffic. It improves traffic safety and efficiency and optimizes citizens' transportation experience. The command center is the core of the ITS. It manages the operation of urban traffic. Road surveillance enables to know overall traffic conditions intuitively and acquire traffic information in real time. The traffic signal control system regulates the traffic order of vehicles and pedestrians. Work modes of the system include single point of control, regional arterial control, and green wave optimization. The ANPR system is deployed at entrance, exit, or arterial roads of the city to record license plates information, ensuring road safety and fighting against crimes. The electronic police system identifies and records illegal vehicles' behavior. The system helps police to investigate and fight against vehicle-related crimes. The system is simple and stable. It adopts industrial HD cameras, capable of continuous snapshots and automatic recognition of number plates and traffic violation. Snapshots can reflect illegal factors, and a video can be provided as evidence. Mobile electronic police is an effective supplementation to the fixed electronic police system. It enables flexible surveillance at feeder roads. In addition, the command center activates the inspection and control function based on suspected vehicle information, so as to monitor and track vehicles. The traffic flow acquisition system enables video analysis and microwave detection, acquires traffic flow status in real time, and has the capability to predict congestions based on integrated analysis of the history and current traffic information, serving as reference to commanding and dispatching, traffic signal control, and traffic guidance. The traffic guidance system releases all kinds of traffic information and notice, diverting traffic flow and reducing traffic congestion. Traffic changes rapidly, and efficient ITS systems need an efficient bearer network. Huawei provides E2E network solutions to keep services uninterrupted. Wireless backup links are also added for higher reliability in key areas. Huawei ITS solution is now serving 20 cities and operating as the backbone of smooth and efficient urban traffic. Smarter traffic, better life.
Okay, so let's break down what a smart city is. Okay, this is a shorter video.
Hello there. I'm often asked what smart cities are all about. Well, we could talk about high-speed wireless networks, connecting sensors and cameras with self-driving cars and high-flying drones in a data-driven city that never really sleeps. But above all, smart cities should really be about creating a better place for people. Let's imagine a city that communicates with its citizens and adapts the resources and services to their evolving needs. How? By analyzing air quality and traffic levels, a cleaner city could steer some dirtier vehicles to secondary routes and so reduce pollution levels and traffic jams. By having a sensing city that would enable people of all ages to get access to medical care as and when they need it, simply by monitoring those all-essential signs and providing real-time medical assistance before things get out of hand. Or by using intelligent drones to help firefighters by providing them with real-time information during critical situations that will allow them to take potentially life-saving decisions. In short, a city making sure their citizens get the best possible quality of life and really enjoy their city. Of course, all of this is enabled by some really clever technology, sending terabytes of big data to and from the objects, people, and indeed the city itself. But we need to be sure that it all works safely and reliably all over the globe. And this is where the standards people are involved. By standardizing all these exchanges, they help bring the citizens, the technology, and the cities all closer together.
Picture your whole city getting hacked. Okay. I only have a few. Like I said, I was going hard on the information, but I'm gonna run through it because it's getting pretty late, and y'all been rocking with me. So, let's get into it. Okay, so smartphones, class of mobile phones, and multi-purpose mobile computing devices. Strong hardware capabilities and extensive mobile operating system. These systems facilitate wider software, internet, including web browsing over mobile, broadband, and multimedia functionality, including music, video, cameras, and gaming. Other core phone functions include voice calls and text messaging. I went through, hold on, let me see. It depends on how. Okay.
Hey, how's it going? Dave 2D here. So with 2019 rolling in, we're going to start to see a lot of advertisements for 5G enabled smartphones and the benefits of the 5G network. And the reality is a properly rolled out 5G network is great. You get super fast internet speeds, you get lower latency, you get the ability to connect a lot more devices to that super fast internet. But to get to that stage, to get to that point where it's like the Internet of Things and everything is connected and talking to each other on the super fast network, you need to overcome a very large obstacle. And this large obstacle kind of casts some shade on this whole 5G smartphone thing. It's the difference in 5G wavelength. 5G signals act very differently from the traditional lower frequency 4G wavelengths. 5G signals have significantly shorter range and weaker penetration than a 4G signal. So things like walls, those obviously affect the way that 5G signals get through, but even something like a tree or an object or another human being between you and a 5G cell tower will affect the signal strength. Even the way that you hold your phone. Like if this was a 5G enabled phone, if your hand is covering the antenna, it will attenuate the signal. Even stuff like weather effects, like rain, fog, snow, that can reduce the signal strength of 5G frequencies. So the solution to this, the workaround to this problem is kind of primitive. They're basically flooding cities that are going to be 5G enabled with a ton of cell towers. So basically, this is not an exaggeration, where in an ideal situation, you want cell towers of basically every single street lamp. That's a ton of them. And in an office building, they're going to be everywhere because you need to have as clear of a line of sight between your phone and a signal tower to be able to use the 5G network properly. Now, the problem with that is well, in terms of the network side, is it's very difficult and very slow to build up an infrastructure like that. Like all the permits, all the requirements to get stuff like that done. Plus there's pushback from communities, right? Not everyone wants to be like surrounded by these cell towers. And there's the issues of like health risks. Like there's not a lot of long-term studies of EMF radiation from these new towers. So for early adopters,
Electromagnetic
it'll be a
frequency
long time
radiation.
before 5G enabled phones can actually take advantage of real 5G connectivity. That's just the nature of this rollout. It's not an easy rollout. And that's just the network side of things. When it comes to phone hardware, there are a whole slew of other obstacles. 5G enabled phones are going to be crazy expensive at launch. So Pete Lau, CEO of OnePlus, he was saying that their 5G enabled phones are going to cost $200 to $300 more than their regular 4G phones. And this is like a $550, $600 phone. You throw on that 5G tax, this is now an $800 or $900 phone. This used to be a very reasonable kind of, not budget phone, but it's like a fairly priced phone. And now it's like in that crazy price point because of 5G capabilities. That new Snapdragon 855 needs a separate 5G modem and multiple antenna modules to make this thing work on the 5G network. And the reason why you need so many antenna modules is because of the problem I was mentioning before. If your hands cover any of the antennas, it doesn't work. You need to have multiple antennas that it intelligently switches between to allow this thing to connect seamlessly with the network. It's difficult to do, it's expensive to do, and it's going to cost the consumer a lot. There's also the issue of shorter battery life. So because you're transmitting and receiving 5G signals, it's going to invariably use more power than the regular 4G version. You're going to get better speeds. Of course, it's the new network. But again, the whole premise of 5G promised something like 10 times or 20 times the speed of 4G, which in theory sounds great, and maybe in the future we'll get there. But in the beginning, when it first rolls out, we're going to get like that Snapdragon 855, the modem on there, I forget the name of it, but the modem, that 5G modem, can only hit, I think, 2.5 times what the 4G network can hit. So again, it's faster, but it's not going to be 10x or 20x. It's going to be quite a few years before we hit those speeds. And it's not like I'm taking a dump on 5G. I feel like the technology is awesome and we're inevitably going to get there. This video is more for the people that are interested in being early adopters for 5G smartphones. The technology sounds awesome and they're going to advertise those phones quite well. You're going to be tempted. My point is, in this current world of what we live in, like 5G enabled networks are going to be rolled out very slowly. So if you're going to spend your money, like unless you're just jonesing for that 5G experience, it's going to be
I get the point. Okay. How much radiation do smartphones give off? Tribune reporters using accredited lab tests that mimic human tissue tested 11 models from 4 companies. That's Apple, Samsung, Motorola, and Blue. Most phones exceeded the legal limit set by the FCC of 1.6 watts per kilogram, average over 1 gram of tissue. That's why they say don't carry your phone in your pocket. That's why they say don't put the phone up to your ear, because that radiation is literally baking and cooking you. Radio frequency radiation exposure from the iPhone 7, which I have actually. Well, I should say I got the SE now, but radio frequency radiation exposure from the iPhone 7, one of the most popular smartphones ever sold, measured over the legal safety limit and more than double what Apple reported to federal regulators from its own testing, according to Healthline.com. How are they not being sued and shut down? I don't know, but maybe they should. And here's just some radiation statistics. I want to try to make this bigger. It looks like iPhone 7 Plus is actually at the lowest spectrum, and Xiaomi Mi A1, which I've never seen that phone in my life, is at the top. OnePlus, I've never seen that. Huawei Mate 9, I have seen. Nokia. Huawei is a lot. Remember, they're implicated on the Parsa, and they're talking about making smart cars. So we got Sony, we got the iPhones. Boom. So those are some radiation statistics. These are a specific absorption rate of smartphones that emit the most radiation in watts per kilogram. Okay, so Side effects of cell phone radiation, okay? According to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, in 2011, International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classified mobile phone radiation possibly carcinogenic. And if you don't know what being carcinogenic means, it's having the capability of causing cancer. Adverse health effects of using mobile phones includes changes in brain activity, reaction times, and sleep patterns. And we all know, a lot of us have, including me, I have insomnia really bad. And sometimes I just stare at the screen and just keep scrolling because I just can't go to sleep. And even when I put the phone down, I feel energy waves coming off my phone. Okay. So adverse health effects of using mobile phones, once again, includes changes in brain activity, reaction times, and sleep patterns. Children are at a greater risk than adults for developing brain cancer from cell phones because their nervous systems are still developing and are more vulnerable to cancer-causing factors. So why do little kids have iPads and cell phones? I don't know, but maybe they shouldn't, because they could develop brain cancer early on, okay? So, predictive programming, all right? This is 5K equals 5G. This is from a TV show called Person of Interest. Please watch and remember the current situation on what's going on as far as the 5G rollout.
Please tell me that you're making progress.
Tell us. I'm sending you a technical report on Carolyn's 5K system. Need you to translate into normal English.
Where did you get this?
Looking over the evidence, we started to think that there might be a cover-up going on at Infinite's.
So I used some of your hacking tools to break into their servers. We found this in one of Carolyn's deleted email threads.
Well, I can see why she deleted it. It's a consumer safety evaluation for their 5K system. The cell towers were operating at more than 200 watts, producing ground-level absorption figures far in excess of the SAR limit of 1.6 watts per kilogram.
Did you not hear the part about English, Harold?
5K cell towers could microwave people. Exposure like that could cause any number of health problems: nausea, migraine headaches, even cancer.
Didn't Chad's attorney say people at the company were getting sick?
And I think I know why. The prototype 5K tower was built at their corporate headquarters.
You think one of the employees may have killed Caroline for making them sick?
Carolyn wasn't making them sick. She was trying to stop it from happening. After seeing this report, she said she wouldn't sell anything that was going to hurt people.
She tried to call off the 5K deal. She would have cost the company billions.
So someone at Infinite's killed her to shut her up, and they framed Chad for a murder.
Crazy, right? Predictive programming, 5K is 5G. Person of Interest, I believe, if I remember correctly, is a show from the 90s, early 2000s. So, boom. 5G radiation. Now, this is real-time effects of 5G.
Monstrosity is the 5G tower in the area. Now, I'm going to turn on my trusty device and see what happens as we get closer.
He says he's testing 5G towers for radiation.
Immediate radiation. 5G tower there and a 5G tower here. And when I get in between them, the 5G tower there and 5G tower here, and this thing's going crazy. So something's up with this 5G. Don't know what's going on.
So this is the last part, and then, this is the last part of the lecture, and then we're gonna say good night. I'm going to ask if anybody wants to come up and share their views on the various topics that we talked about tonight, or any information, or what did they learn, and you know how that goes. So let's get into the last part of the lecture. Part 10, mind control. Are your thoughts always your own? Okay. So brainwashing. Brainwashing is a concept that the human mind can be altered or controlled by certain psychological techniques. Brainwashing reduces its subject's ability to think critically or independently. It allows the introduction of new, unwanted thoughts and ideas into their minds, as well as to change their attitudes, values, and beliefs. Brainwashing techniques. 1. Isolation. Limiting any other influence by controlling information flow is the ultimate goal. Perceived isolation and loneliness are associated with increased sympathetic nervous system activity, increased inflammation, and decreased sleep, all of which can accelerate brain and cardiovascular aging. Research has found that perceived social isolation and loneliness are associated with depression, cognitive decline, poor sleep quality, a weaker immune system, and potential heart problems. Now, I'm going to go into this right here, right? Because even a social media program like Instagram, is a brainwashing technique, according to this definition right here. Because if you don't have a lot of likes, if you don't have a lot of followers, you feel lonely. You feel like you're not enough. So that is perceived isolation. And what do you do? You're comparing everybody's best highlights to your perceived mundane life. So you do feel depressed. You do feel like you can't sleep. You do feel sick, you know? So brainwashing techniques 2, criticism. Manipulators will usually speak in us against them terms, criticize the outside world and claim their own superiority, i.e. Cancel culture. Criticism diminishes self-esteem and one's ability to trust, devalues mental well-being, and creates social anxiety. Brainwashing techniques 3, social proof. And I was just talking about this, the use of social media. A psychological phenomenon where some people assume that the actions and beliefs of others are appropriate, and because everyone does that, must be justified, aka Black Lives Matter. Oh, everybody's, marching and breaking shit, so that must be what socially we're supposed to be doing. That's what revolution looks like, because they said that that's what we're supposed to be doing. This works especially well when an individual isn't sure what to think, how to behave, or what to do. Social media. Social media are interactive computer mediated technologies that facilitate the creation or sharing of information, ideas, career interests, and other forms of expression via virtual communities and networks. FOMO, okay? Fear of missing out. A new study by the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania found that teens who use social media heavily are 3 times as likely to feel socially isolated, which goes back to the brainwashing techniques I was just talking about. Excessive use can fuel feelings of anxiety, depression, and FOMO, aka fear of missing out. It promotes envy and dissatisfaction in life. It impacts your self-esteem, triggers anxiety, and fuel even greater social media use. And let me say this too, because I see a lot of social media drama, especially on YouTube, from adults who display these characteristics. Okay, I ain't gonna call out names, but any person who be hating on Ashe Divine, you feel me? They dealing with some FOMO. Okay, they some victims of FOMO. But FOMO can compel you to pick up your phone every few minutes to check for updates or compulsively respond to each and every alert. And I'm not going to lie, I do that unconsciously sometimes, especially if I'm expecting someone to call me. I'm constantly just looking and looking and looking. And sometimes I have to turn my phone off or put it in another room for me not to do that, because it's an unconscious thing. FOMO makes you take risk while you're driving, missing out on sleep at night, or prioritizing social media interaction over real world relationships just to stay in the loop. You become more self-centered and more into your ego, which is your lower self. Excuse me. Social media's effect on the brain. Studies. Viewing photos with many compared with few likes was associated with greater activity in neural regions implicated in reward processing, social cognition, imitation, and attention. A study published in the journal Psychological Science revealed. A study published in the journal, the American Journal of Epidemiology, found that IRL, which is in real life interactions, led to more positive feelings than online interactions. A study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that heavy social media users performed worse at being able to effectively switch from one task to another than moderate to light social media users. And it is also universally known to induce insomnia. So, electroencephalography. That word is always very hard for me, but it always pops up, okay? EEG is an electrophysiological monitoring method that records electrical activity of the brain. EEGs use electrodes on the scalp, and EEGs measures voltage fluctuations resulting from ionic current within the neurons of the brain, which is literally just, it reads the pulse and interactions of the electrical current with the neurons in your brain. Okay, so Ohm's law, okay? What is the ionic current? The electric current resulting from motion of ions, flow equals force, conductance, Ohm's law. An ion is an atom or molecule that has a net electrical charge. So, hopefully you guys can see that. So what is a neuron? Okay, now we're getting to the science of the EEG, just to break it down, just so you know you have a well-rounded understanding of what I'm talking about. A neuron or nerve cell is an electrically excitable cell that communicates with the other cells via specialized connections called synapses. Sensory neurons respond to stimuli such as touch, sound, or light that affects the cell of the sensory organs, and they send signals to the spinal cord or brain. Motor neurons receive signals from the brain and the spinal cord to control everything from muscle contractions to glandular output. Interneurons connect neurons to other neurons within the same region of the brain or spinal cord. A group of connecting neurons is called a neural circuit. And so let's define EEGs with this short video, just to give more clarification.
Electroencephalography, or EEG, is a technique used to measure the electrical activity of the brain. In EEG, electrodes are most commonly placed on the scalp of a patient, primarily to detect the electrical activity of neurons in the cerebral cortex. Typically, EEG does not record the activity of single neurons, but rather detects the signals created when populations of neurons are active at the same time. It mostly records signals from small areas of the brain surrounding each electrode. EEG is primarily measuring postsynaptic potentials, or changes in membrane potential that are elicited by neurotransmitters binding to receptors on the postsynaptic membrane. EEG provides an image of electrical activity in the brain represented as waves of varying frequency, amplitude, and shape. It can be used to measure brain activity that occurs during an event, like the completion of a task or the presentation of a stimulus, or to measure spontaneous brain activity that happens in the absence of a specific event. The typical electrical activity that occurs in association with an event is sometimes referred to as the event-related potential. There are a number of clinical applications of EEG. For example, it is commonly used to diagnose epilepsy and characterize seizure activity, to monitor sleep for the diagnosis of sleep disorders, and in efforts to diagnose or provide information about a variety of other types of brain dysfunction. While there are many advantages to using EEG, such as its low cost and ability to measure brain activity on the order of milliseconds, there are some limitations as well. For example, because EEG monitors activity in large groups of neurons, it is difficult to pinpoint activity seen using EEG to a precise location in the brain. And it records the activity of neurons in the cortex, but is limited in its ability to accurately record activity in deeper structures of the brain.
Right. Okay. So, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, I was gonna go even harder. Okay. So the end. Thank you for watching. Please, when you run this video back or you share this video, please take notes. I know it was a lot of information, but a lot of this is key, and a lot of this you can be ahead of the curve of what's new to other people. You will already have, if not base knowledge, but thorough knowledge of what's to come. Okay. So let me stop sharing. Okay, so let me fix this right here. Okay, so I appreciate everybody watching. It looks like we've been on here for almost 3 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link, and if anybody would like to come up here and share any information that they learned or what they already know, or to ask me any questions about the information that I presented, here's your chance. The link is now in there. And if anybody wants to support, please go to teespring.com/stores/Prez app. Okay. We have the exclusive WayPod merch, the Prez apparel and First Lady wear. Very affordable. I even dropped the prices down even more to be even more affordable. So please check that out if you want to financially support this channel. I appreciate all the likes and shares and subscribes. We are inching towards 1K. All right, we are almost there. Okay, I think we're about 300 or so, maybe less, from hitting that 1K. So just keep pushing it, because the information, I just love learning and I love teaching. So the more that you push this, and I be able to get paid, the better quality of information I get, because I can afford, books, and I want to actually start doing seminars and teaching in person. So all of that takes funding. So that's where we're at with it. Okay. I appreciate everybody who's watching this. I know that it was a lot of information, and I saw y'all going hard in the chat. I wish I could have, joined y'all conversation, but I want to do some shout outs while I wait to see if anybody want to click that link to come up here and expound on what we learned, because at the 3-hour mark, I am going to end this. Okay. So I want to shout out Absolute AI. I want to shout out Earth Goddess TV. Matter of fact, y'all need to go subscribe to Earth Goddess TV. She will be interviewing me tomorrow at 5:00. She'll be interviewing me, and I really look forward to talking to the Queen. So y'all be in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe to her. Shout out Crown G, my right-hand man. Shout out Blue. You know what I'm saying? My brother in the building. Who else? Yosef, he always be supportive. I love you, bro. Your energy is you always come correct. I got somebody. Okay. Shout out Ashe Divine Esoteric. Y'all need to go ahead and subscribe to the Queen, to the amazing, beautiful, intelligent woman that is Ashe Divine. Okay, she went hard today. She been dropping videos and she been dropping knowledge. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her. I have a guest that decided to hit the link, and I'm gonna introduce him. I actually grew up with this guy, so he has good energy. So let me introduce you.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. So for those who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself.
I'm Alex, about 27 years old, born 1993. So we grew up, same street, right down the road. And so just basically friends since, oh man, I don't even remember.
Like early 2000s, really.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So tell them a little bit of your technical background, because you're actually, have a lot of intelligence in this realm of technology. So let the people know.
Yeah, so I got my BA in history, which that helps with the research part. But after that, the last summer of my bachelor's, I built my computer, and ever since then I've just been learning about them. And I've done some C++ and learning Java right now, and just working with data and other things. So yeah, just kind of all around, but mostly my focus is on data and programming. So yeah, kind of right in my field there.
All right. So as a whole, do you think technological advancement can be utilized for the good of humanity, or will it be detrimental to humanity?
I think both, because you have self-driving cars and things like that. Maybe for more convenience. There are things that drive the push towards like curing or preventing cancer, things like that. But you also have I don't know if you showed it. I was tuning in and out here and there, but basically there are some drones. A lot of it is like military applications. They have drones that can actually seek out, and they do the same thing with like facial recognition. So if they need to pinpoint a target, they can make sure what target they're looking at, and then send them, and it'll go right to the head and then explode on impact, which is pretty crazy. But I think it all depends on the mission of whoever's using the technology. Kind of like Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
I think you had Tony Stark. So he had Stark Industries, and then he was manufacturing weapons, and they wanted to use his Iron Man suit, for the military, but he wanted it, of course, for himself. But yeah, whoever's using it, I think that's going to be it. If it gets in the wrong hands, it can be devastating.
Well, what is your opinion on kind of like it's giving, because I see technology as like poisonous candy. Like the candy tastes good until you get to the core of it, And I say like the facial recognition stuff with the Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can make silly faces. Yeah, you can put a mask on your face, but that data can be traded, and you don't. And somebody with ill intention can literally buy your facial, your facial expressions, or somebody could literally make like a fake mask of you and do something, and because they got your voice, they got how you talk, they got your mannerisms, and then like with Facebook, all they're doing is just logging in your whole entire. It's almost like, I don't know if you heard about what is it called? Fuck. I cannot think of what it's called. Oh, Akashic Records. Do you know what Akashic Records is?
Hey, what?
Akashic Records.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Akashic Records, with the simplest explanation, it's supposed to be like the library of all your thoughts, feelings, actions that you will have and are doing at that moment, like all eternity, right? And Facebook is literally a digital Akashic record, because we use it as like a journal of our thoughts, feelings, motivations, everything. And people are just taking our data and just forming a whole profile of us, to where if they cloned us, or if they wanted to manufacture an actor in our likeness, they could do it, because they know every single thing about us, like everything from our hopes, our fears, our religious or spiritual views, our likes, our dislikes. It's like, it's out of control, yo.
Well,
To
yeah,
me.
With AI, they could generate your voice, they could generate your mannerisms, things like that. It's all about iterations with computers. So the more iterations that you have of something, the closer that it can get to 100% accuracy. And that's what the weighted values was with the neural networks. What they do is they basically filter them until they get as close to 100% accurate as they can get. So,
do you think they will ever do 100%? Because I don't think they could ever do 100%.
No, because it would have to be that person, I think, to be 100%. But it can get as close as possible, and that's what the goal is to get it as close to 100 as possible.
And you know what's always crazy to me? When people say like downloading your consciousness, you as a person though aren't experiencing that. Your copy of the, of your essence. So you still die. Like I don't think immortality on this plane of existence does not exist, because you can replicate yourself all you want to, but your soul is not living. You get what I'm saying? Like
there's a game you would like called Soma, and it deals exactly with what you're talking about, where you download the consciousness and you still live on, and then another copy of you is the thing that goes on into the next robot or whatever it is. It's a copy. So it goes on. Like, I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but you should play Soma. It's kind of like a movie. There's a couple things you basically walk through, but it's more story based. But I think you would like that. It's about psychology and technology and things.
Yeah, because I always, that's something that my subconscious mind is always trying to break down. Like, why do they think that if they can replicate the essence of them, that's still not you? That's still, you aren't going to consciously live the life of your clone or or of the robot. Like, it's just, they're going to have their own separate consciousness with everything about you, but you're not living that. I think that's impossible.
Even though I'm into technology, I still, I would rather see more like assisted, like technology assisted things, as opposed to fully driven by technology, because I don't feel like technology can replace human beings. Or do I think we should try to do that? I just.
So, okay. So how far is too far for you? Like what's the cap of technology integration with humans? Like, are you for transhumanism, as in like integrating technology into the bio,
No, I think that's going a little too far. Do you know about augmented reality?
Yes.
I think that's about as far as I'd be willing to go. I'm not down with microchipping unless it's with pets. I don't think it should go further than that. Because, with pets, if they get lost, then you have something to locate them, so long as the body doesn't reject it or it doesn't get an infection, stuff like that. So as long as it doesn't hurt them, that might be one way to do it. But I don't think it should go beyond assisted. For the most part, some things like assembly for cars, I think they might be able to do it all with machines, but I think the employability factor is with the people who might be able to service those machines. With that, so
maintenance and all that stuff, and programmers.
And all that. I think there's like a line, and I think the line is fully automated. I think the human component shouldn't be removed.
Well, I think the one thing that I know that is inevitable is labor jobs are going to go away, right? But I feel like if they're going to be more technologically based society, then they should start teaching mathematics and science more than how to rap and sing and how to draw and dumb shit like that. That's not because
better because they do teach it, but I don't feel like okay, so I don't know if you remember back to middle school, high school with the math curriculum there, but they have like stupid examples, right, for their math problems, like if you have a weather balloon that's traveling and it drops down and stops by a 7-Eleven to get a hot dog, and
yeah,
ridiculous stuff. And
yeah,
it like doesn't make any sense. So with
and
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've always been garbage at math, so I think that the school curriculum period needs to be just revamped and like.
I mean, I don't feel like they properly apply some of that stuff. I mean, with programming, you definitely use algebra. You for sure use algebra. You have variables where you have like x equals something. I mean, you definitely see that in programming. It's the same concepts. So if they wanted to, apply it to something, then I've always been for more like more trade, trade-based stuff, apprenticeships, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been more for that. Learning the thing in and of itself without application, I think, is a little hollow.
Yeah, because I feel like high school should be, you have the basic math, history, science, reading comprehension and all that. And then after your freshman year, you should be learning how to apply those skills in real life situations. So if you have an affinity for science, okay, well, here are all the scientific avenues that you can get into, Or if you're a mathematician and you're good at math from a little kid on up, okay, well, here's where mathematics apply. Or if you're good with your hands, if you're mechanical, okay, here's how to build an engine. I feel like it should be work-based education. I hope that sounds right. Like,
yeah, I understand what you mean. There should be some sort of application component. They teach to a series of things, at least in Texas. It's usually state-based, but there's something called they're called TEKs. Basically, it's like a list of things to cover within a certain curriculum. So whatever you teach, you at least have to cover, this, and that. But generally, teachers kind of have the freedom to do, to set up like whatever lessons they want to do. But I'm not sure. I've been student teaching, and even the school I went to, I wasn't super impressed with the way that the way that the teachers think about kids. They just don't really. They don't give them enough credit, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are intelligent, and with the right motivation, they can do a lot, and they can surprise people. Because I've seen it myself.
Well, I think that issue is okay, especially in inner cities or just public schools in general. You are taught how to be a worker and not a creator. You're taught how to follow directions. And some people are naturally leaders and not, followers. So somebody might have a difficult time just following a direction when they can get to the solution to the problem an easier way for them. And I think that teachers might get frustrated or think like that means that they can't be educated or, but when really it's the opposite. It's that they're thinking on a higher level than what you're trying to teach. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're talking about when they break the rules, but not in a malicious way. And that's something that that's something that, should be encouraged when they, because having such a rigid rule structure where, okay, technically they, broke this or that rule, but they did something that took creativity and actually, like whatever result was, really impressive for their age. I think a lot of that stuff should be encouraged.
Or even check this out, Alex. Like, let's say there's a math question, right? And there's a proper way to get the answer, but the kid is getting it wrong when he's following that method. But when he figures it out himself, or she figures it out herself and gets the right answer, they say that it's wrong because they didn't use the method that was taught. Things like that. Like, I feel like people are punished for using creative thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point for sure. And they it's called showing your work. They have to show their work, and then if they don't do it the whatever way their teacher is shows them how to do it or whatever, then it's marked wrong even though it's right, which
is crazy, right? Because in machine learning, they're literally making machines be able to do just that. Finding their own solutions within the program. Like we were talking about how AI does its learning. And it was literally saying it goes through processes, and the processes that don't work get culled and killed off and replaced with the ones that actually work. So if that's good for a machine, why isn't it good for us? Like, I don't know. Like,
I think that goes. I think that goes to change. The comfort level when it comes to people with change. Change isn't really something that a lot of people are comfortable with. But change should be encouraged. If there's a better way to do something, then you should move to that and keep on doing whatever you're doing. Just use the better way to do it.
But there's always a better solution. What like even with the technological advancement, I feel like still nature should be integrated in it. Like somehow nature should be integrated into the technology. And I'm not talking about like the robotic botany stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, why isn't cars all sun powered? Like, there's no reason why there aren't solar panel cars. And if there are, then they should be widely distributed. Things like that.
I think that kind of stuff goes to whatever business, whatever the business side is. Because, I mean, there are ways to do things, it's possible, but it might not be, when it comes to, a corporate meeting and they're, in there with the suits and everything. And then they're like, hey guys, what about this? And it's like, oh, he's new, don't worry about him.
Yeah, he don't know what he's talking about. Free
stuff.
Energy.
But yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm looking at Elon Musk. That guy's super impressive. He just opened up a new, I think it's just for car manufacturing, but he's opening up some plants in Texas. And have you seen the self-landing rockets that he's made?
No.
The rockets, they come down and they land themselves.
Oh wow! See, that's crazy.
It's nuts. And
so even after the fuelage and everything, like oh wow, okay, I gotta look into that.
They come down and then they just land themselves. But yeah, the self-driving cars, that's what I was talking about with the object recognition. It'll recognize objects and surfaces and things like that, and distinguish between them. I think right now they're not completely like autopilot, but it's more like assisted. But like I said, even with autopilot, I think there's okay. So even if a car could analyze everything, you know, down to picosecond or, you know, whatever, you're still dealing with, you know, the physics of a situation. So unexpected situations, you know, they happen, and I don't think a car would be able to account for every single variable,
right?
No matter how powerful the
and like, think about it this way, like, if you consciously know, okay, if I go left, I will avoid it, right? But the car system says, no, you're staying straight or you're going right. You could die because of the system made a choice that you disagree with, you know? Like,
that makes me think of anti-lock brakes.
Yes.
Those things
Yes.
are so terrible.
Yes.
They don't help at all. They just make things so much worse. You're you're trying to brake, and then you feel it, like, you know,
lock up on you, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying not to die.
Yeah, I could have done this on my own. Yeah, that's awful.
Or like they said, somebody could hack the system, or somebody could be like, okay, we're going to build this so when somebody puts a code in, all of these will crash. And now you got a terrorist attack. It's just, with technology, it's a double-edged sword, I guess. Like, it's cool, it's good, it looks nice, pretty colors. Oh, this makes life easier. But the negative is too, because like, why would you live in a smart home when, like, the government or a malicious group could just shut your shit down and lock you in there, and now you can't even open your door? Like, you didn't pay your bill, so now you can't get in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much that they could do with that, yo. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, I don't know. I don't want that feature. I'm sorry. I just don't want it. Like,
my biggest fear for the future. So, I guess what you might look into, like, for the next podcast, or just for your own, you know, enjoyment, is the Internet of Things. Have you heard of that?
Yep. We touched on that. Yep.
Okay, and microtransactions. The microtransactions, that's what bothers me the most, and I am very scared of that. I mean, I had a dream about it, actually, but think about, like, you want to go down the road to get, you know, some groceries or something, and you got to pay, like, a, you know, microtransaction to, you know, go from one place to the next or whatever, like all these tolls and everything that they're doing. There's so many tollways in Texas. It's just nuts. There's tollways being built right now from College Station all the way to Houston. It's called the Aggie Tollway because the vice president of A&M wanted it so that they could get more traffic over to the university. But yeah, so now they have a big, you know, tollway, and you have the Easy Pass where they can, you know, take pictures of your car and everything with the license and all that. So that's what really scares me, is just having to, like, pay a small credit every time you do something.
Yeah, there's a movie I want everybody, and I want you to check it out too if you haven't watched it. I'm so glad that you talked about this, because there's a movie called In Time with Justin Timberlake where it's a premise like that. Like, well, what it is everybody has a certain amount of time to live, and the richer you are, the more time you have. So they literally use the time of their life to buy a coffee or to go to different tolls. And the higher society, the more of time it costs, if that makes sense. So that's kind of interesting that you said that, because that's what makes me think about it. It's called In Time. I really want you guys to watch that movie. Let me think. So what do you think? This is my last question that we're going to end this, because it's almost been 4 hours. We've been going hard today. How do you feel about cryptocurrency, and what would be the implications of a digital currency with a digital currency taking over from the physical?
So I have studied this a little bit with blockchain and Bitcoin and all that. So basically, okay, so let me try to think back, because I didn't study it too much, but I did read a book on it. But basically, you have untraceable transactions that are locked with basically it's like a crypto key, about keys that they use. So
that's like access codes and stuff of that nature, right?
Yeah, basically they lock it with a key. But yeah, so I think, I don't know, because it seemed like it was booming, a while back, but I haven't really heard much about it recently. They're wanting it to be more widespread, for like people to have freedom to do anonymous transactions,
right?
But I don't know, some people, like, they'll say, I want it for people's liberation from needing banks as a middleman, when really they just want to buy some not so savory things,
black market type, dark web type shit.
So you get both. You have businesses that might use cryptocurrency. You have people who are trading, underground things, and they're buying some, guns or whatever. They're using it to buy, like I said, unsavory things on the dark web or whatever. But in large, I mean, the whole thing it's about the banks, being used as a middleman. It was basically, the premise was that we don't need banks, to basically process those transactions. We can do it ourselves. So I'm not exactly sure what the future will hold in terms of that, but
yeah,
for me,
I got something to show. I got something to show y'all, and this is the last thing that we're going to end it. Thank you for that answer, because this is actually a part of the part 1 of this lecture. So let's get into it. Bill Gates, ID 2020. Bill Gates wants to use us as walking bank cards, and I have the proof. Okay. So this is the actual patent you can look up. All right. This is WO202006066. Okay. You see that 202666. All right. Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. Cryptomania system using body activity data. What's the abstract? Human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user, which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in a device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. In layman's terms, it tracks your body's movements and awards you for tasks that it wants you to do.
That sounds like that. What was that movie where they're like streaming, and while they're streaming, like, the people say, do this and I'll donate, this amount of money.
I know what you're talking about. I think it's called Gamer. Let me see. I think it's called Gamer.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Excuse me, somebody talking about me. Yeah, it's called Gamer. Okay, so when was this published? March 26th, 2020. Applicant Microsoft Technology Licensing LLC. That's how you know that it's Bill Gates. Okay. What's the background? A virtual currency, also known as digital currency, is the medium of exchange implemented through the internet, generally not tied to a specific government-backed fiat, which is a printed currency such as the US dollar or the euro, and typically designed to allow instantaneous transactions in borderless transfer of ownership. One example of virtual currency is cryptocurrency, which Alex spoke of, wherein cryptography is used to secure transactions and to control the creation of new units. Several cryptocurrencies exist. Among these, the most well-known is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency. Most blockchain-based cryptocurrency is decentralized in the sense that it has no central point of control. However, blockchain-based cryptocurrency can also be implemented in a centralized system having a central point of control over the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is one example of blockchain-based cryptocurrency. Next slide. The body may include, for example, but not limited to, radiation emitted from human body, brain activities, and body fluid flow, like blood flow, organ activity or movement, body movement, and any other activities that could be sensed and represented by images, waves, signals, text, numbers, degrees, or any other form of information or data. Examples of body radiation emitted from the human body may include radiant heat of the body, pulse rate, or brain wave. Brain waves may compromise, for example, but not limited to, gamma waves involved in learning or memory tasks, beta waves involved in logical thinking and or conscious thought, alpha waves, which may be related to subconscious thoughts, theta waves, which may be related to thoughts involving deep and raw emotions, and delta waves, which may be involved in sleep or deep relaxation. I want to pause right there. So they literally want to mine and I'll say gather the information of your complete body's natural systems, like everything.
Remember when you were talking about like what's too far? Yeah, this is too far.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is real deal Holyfield. Okay. Now, this is why the lessons is very important. This is why I said take notes, because remember we talked about the EEG earlier, electroencephalogram, which may be measurement used to evaluate the electrical activity in the brain, such as deep concentration. Examples of the body movement may include eye movement, facial movement, or any other muscular movements. Furthermore, brain activity can be sensed using the fMRI. The fMRI measures brain activity by detecting changes associated with blood. Okay, so for example, the brain image generated by the fMRI scanner may be fed into a computer vision machine learning algorithm, for example, but limited to a convolution neural network. In the machine learning algorithm, remember we learned about that earlier, may generate one or more vectors from one or more voxels of the brain image. In some embodiments, one single vector may be generated at operation 710. In other embodiments, a series of vectors may be produced by sampling over time when user 145 is performing the task. The data of the body activity, voxels of a brain image, and or vectors or embeddings may generate a proof of work and be transmitted to cryptocurrency system network 150. In addition, the vectors may optionally include one or more vectors related to the task. So pretty much it's saying that every time you perform any type of cognitive thought, feeling, movement, it will reward you if that's what it determines the task that they wanted you to do. So it pretty much turns you to a robot, essentially.
Yeah, that's very strange.
And what happens when you don't do what they want you to do? You know? And this is the last tidbit of information that we're going to end this. Okay. The rehash data with the hash of the body activity received from the device to the user to verify the body activity. Concept 24, a device comprising one or more processors communicatively coupled to a sensor. The sensor configured to sense body activity of the user, in memory storing executable instructions that, if executed by one or more processors, configure the device to receive a task. It generates, body activity data based on the body activity of the user, wherein the sense body activity is associated with the task, and transmits the generated body activity data to a system or network which verifies the body activity data to award cryptocurrency. So next time you hear about Bill Gates ID 2020, do not let them tell you that it is a conspiracy and that it's fake. And for some reason, my sound is like messing up. So I think that's a good sign to end this. Alex, thank you for coming up here. And is there anything that you would like to say about what I just read, or anything you'd like to say to the audience before we end this?
Yeah, so it's good to keep up on this. I would say just stick with it. Let's see what happens. Things play out very strangely sometimes. So maybe something will happen, that we'll be surprised. Maybe nothing will happen. But, it's interesting to see where it's going to go. It really is.
All right. And if with knowledge, I'm not trying to quote Spider-Man, but with knowledge, you have great responsibility to do something about it, whether that's to educate yourself and your family members, or to just understand what's going to happen,
I solemnly swear not to program anything that will take over the world. I will not start Skynet. So yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. So I want to thank you, Alex, for coming up here and expounding and bringing your energy. It was great. And I hope once we, talk about something like this again, you come up and, we could chop it up. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate y'all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please, this information is very, very vital. So just share it or watch it with your family, or just tell them what you learned tonight. I'm going to leave this with love and light like I always do. Peace.